And we are live. My name is Scott Wilkinson. I'm a professional body piercer. I've been piercing since 1994, so I've been at this for a while. I own a shop in Las Vegas, Nevada. It's called Piercing Vegas, and one of my other piercers there is Kelsey. So Kelsey, how long have you been piercing?
About 10 years now.
Right on. Very, very cool. So we're waiting for a couple people to get in here, but we are going to be streaming for about 2 hours today. Basically what's going on is you're going to ask us a bunch of questions, preferably about piercing stuff, but well, I suppose we'll take some personal stuff too. And yeah, people starting to come on in. It looks like we have Eric. You need to say hi for a second, so I'm going to change this to another channel.
Hi guys. And Miguel Gonzalez, hello. Hi. Emily Sakuma, hi Scott and Kelsey.
Hi guys. There we go. That sounds better for me.
Yay. Hi y'all. Umut Ada. Hello.
That's the toughest part of this is pronouncing people's names. Sometimes people put crazy things up here, so crazy.
First question of the day, Emily Sakuma. Why do I keep getting?
It's back again. I'm not sure why your sound keeps popping in and out like this, but we're back again. So the question was, I'll say that again. Why do I keep getting hardened tissue around the outside of my Ashley piercing? So that can be from a number of reasons. Like if you're playing with your jewelry constantly, that's a really big deal. You're just creating scar tissue in that fistula area. So, I mean, it really depends. Ashley piercings they're not super hard to heal, but they can be. I had a double Ashley piercing and I had to take them out after like 3 months because they were just a pain in the butt. Yeah.
So.
It also kind of depends on how long you've had your piercing. If it's a brand new piercing, your lips are going to swell and you're going to get that hardened tissue in there. There's a thing that's happened a long time ago. I've never quite understood it, but like my eyebrow piercings, I used to get these hard, almost There, it sounds like we're back in again. Sorry about that, our sound keeps popping in and out. I'm gonna have to find a IT guy to help me figure out why that's happening. But what I was saying is I used to have my eyebrows pierced and there used to be like this hard lump inside there, like a disc. And over time it went away and it got softer. But I've had my eyebrows pierced maybe 24 times now. And I would say it's happened at least 6 of the times. And I wonder if it's kind of the same thing where it's your body's reaction to like literally I could grab it. I felt like there was a quarter in there. And I think lips can sometimes do the thing where they get that really, really hard tissue. I don't have a good solid answer for you. I wish I did. Our sound just keeps cutting out really, really bad. I'm really sorry about that, you guys. I don't know why it's doing that. But yeah, I'm not sure. I've never had any infections. It's never went bad, but sometimes it does go back and forth until it does completely stop. So I hope that works out for you, Emily. It's frustrating. I don't have the answer for that one. And then up next is
Manon Vashisht.
Yeah.
Hi, Kelsey and Scott. My piercings have been flared. What should I do? They hurt.
Well, you got to give us more information than that. Which piercings?
How long
are they
you had
fresh? Are they stretched? Yeah, there's a lot of variables. So give us a more detailed question, please, and we'll help you out. Moving on to 452 Natasha. Hi, Scott and Kelsey.
Hello.
Hi, welcome in. Glad everyone's here. And we haven't said it yet, but if you haven't subscribed or hit the like, definitely do that. And when you're asking your questions, be as thorough as you can. The more thorough the question, the better we can answer this for you. And Fluffy Kitten says hello.
Hello.
Hi. Hey, speaking of kittens, the kittens came back. I saw them last night outside our shop.
I saw the mom kitty, but I haven't seen the kittens. I like stayed out there for a minute with some cat food, and they just like they don't come out. And I was asking the mommy kitty what happened to the babies, but she didn't tell me.
She didn't tell you?
No.
So we're on the second floor, and downstairs there's a little electrical boxes, and some cats went in there, and they had 3 kittens. So mom and dad's in there, and then there's these 3 kittens, and they're grown. Wait, we just lost. There we go.
And
back
I've been feeding them for the last couple of months so that they'll stay and love me, but they still don't let me touch them. And then they just disappeared out of nowhere.
So yeah, we have kittens at our shop, not in the shop, outside, and we can't get close to them. But we give them treats and we make sure they get their water and their food. So we love our little shop kittens. And moving on to Myron the Bug. Hi guys.
Hello.
Hey Myron.
And so we have Lee Finney, my 2 favorite people.
What's up, Lee?
I make sure I make sure my Wednesday evenings are free now so that I can join you two. Learn so much from you guys. Thanks from a fellow piercer.
We are so happy that you're here and that you're part of the community. Everyone's welcome here at Piercing with Scott. So, and cheers, Kelsey. We haven't done our Dutch cheers yet. We seem to do this every time. The sound, I'm not sure. All right, let's move on to the next question here. And you're Umut Ada
Gubres?
Gubers.
Well, you did a great job just spelling my name.
All right.
We tried really hard.
We are trying. And Easy Being Green 84. Oh my God, I never caught a live stream.
Yay, glad you're here.
I've never caught our live stream either. I've always been here watching this, so I haven't got a chance to watch it. One of these days, maybe I'll be like sitting outside. And
I usually watch them when I'm at work, like doing nothing or like doing prep kits or something. I'll just like put it on in the background. I'm like,
awesome. All right. And Miguel Gonzalez, any tips on piercing my vertical labret?
I mean, are you piercing it yourself?
I was going to say go to a professional.
No, yeah, the only tip I would have is to see a professional.
It's a pretty easy piercing. It's a little pinchy when you get it done. It's going to swell up quite a bit, so you have to have a longer post in there, but eat a nice big meal before you go in. If you have a good supportive friend to bring with you, bring your friend. And like I said, don't do it yourself. Go to a shop, because I can guarantee if you do it yourself, it's going to be many times before you get that thing straight. Mm-hmm. It's not an easy one to do. And Annalie Marishka Smith. Hi there, guys. How long does it take to heal a nostril piercing? I've been told 2 months, then it's 4 months. Yes.
Yeah. So typically, I mean, it really just depends on the person, how well your body does with healing. But typically, a nostril piercing will take anywhere between 4 to 6 months, even a full year, especially before you swap it out to a hoop. Typically, it'll take about that long. Just got to keep it clean and leave it alone.
And the thing is if you take care of it really good and not over clean it, over irritate it, it's going to seem healed in a month. That's why you hear those smaller numbers. It's not healed yet because you're trying to heal that fistula, which is that tube of scar tissue, and it takes months for that to get thick enough without testing. It just came back.
Hello.
Why is our sound going out like that? I am so sorry, you guys. Anyways, yeah, so generally it's minimum 4 months before you put a ring in there. A lot of times it seems healed after a month, but a lot of people over clean their piercings and cause way more problems. So don't overdo it. Generally just clean it once a day with a wound wash spray.
Yep.
So
our bodies do an awesome job at healing itself. You know, like when you get poked or cut by something, just leave it be.
Yeah.
Don't over clean it. Yeah.
So Emily Sakuma says, I have a triple Ashley piercing.
Oh, snap.
I've never seen a triple. No, that's awesome. Cool. What are they? Like in a line this way? Is it up in more vertical one? How?
Ooh.
I don't know how, in triangle shape?
That would be cool. Send us a picture.
Yeah, I would love
the
to see
email
that.
because I really want to see that.
Yep. And
Bin Anonym. Hi, I want to stretch my septum. Should I use the jojoba oil or what is the best? And as far as stretching goes, a water-based lubricant is always really good. Jojoba oil and stuff like that, vitamin E oil is really good for just massaging the area. As far as stretching goes,
no vitamin E oil.
yeah, no vitamin E oil.
Vitamin E oil minimizes scar tissue, and you can actually thin that fistula because that's what people use to get rid of
cause
scar tissue.
microtears
So
and
stay away from the vitamin E oil. But yeah, emu oil, just a natural water-based lubricant. And honestly, like you're stretching your septum, or wait.
Yeah, I'm stretching the septum.
Yeah, a lot of times it's a naturally lubricated, and the piece will almost fall right into place once you're ready. Once you get to bigger sizes,
Nice
you need a
hot
little
shower,
bit more.
it should just like slide right in.
So, Rhaegar Nico, I want to pierce my septum myself. Any tips? Yeah, don't do it.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
See a piercer.
Start go on Amazon and start looking up autoclaves, which is what you need to sterilize things properly. And I guarantee you'll be way cheaper to go to a professional. And number two, septum piercings are one of the most difficult piercings to get straight.
Yeah.
Probably hands down the number one that everyone gets crooked. So you go to a piercer who's been doing this for a long time and it's still a possibility of being crooked, but you think you can do better than them? It's not going to happen. go to a professional. And I guarantee you're going to miss the spot and you're going to make it way more painful than it needs to be.
Yeah.
So.
Next, Demetrius Williams. I have a quick question. Can you pierce your septum at home, or do you have to go to a professional?
We just kind of answered that one right there. Yeah. Go to a
See a
professional.
professional.
You can do anything you want at home. Is it a good idea? No.
always.
No. Just because you have like needle and thread, if you get a big cut on your arm, you're going to suture yourself up because you can do it. You could. It's not a good idea, and you're going to have a massive scar, and it's going to hurt more. And then the list goes on and on. It's the same thing. All right. And Manin Vashisht.
I've got both helixes of mine pierced about 3 months ago, and both of them hurt. Oh, that was the person that messaged first about how their piercings are flared up.
Okay. Yeah, cartilage takes a long time to heal up. Sometimes a minimum of like 6 months. I've seen them take over a year to heal. Now, if you got two of them, you got both my helixes, mine pierced. If they're right next to each other, there's going to be swelling on the one, which puts swelling on the next, which makes it a lot worse to heal during the healing process.
And especially if you have one on each side, which is what it kind of seems like you're saying. I've got both of my both helixes of mine pierced about 3 months ago. So if you're a side sleeper,
you're sleeping on it.
Usually what I recommend is just have somebody have one done first. That way they have an ear to sleep on once that side heals, and they get shorter jewelry put in so that you don't risk migration and everything from sleeping on that now healed piercing. Then you get the other side pierced. So if you don't have a side to sleep on, so now you're sleeping on both sides and irritating the piercings, that's probably what's happening.
And then also make sure you're doing the right aftercare where you're using a wound wash spray, which is sterile saline. That's it.
Making sure pillowcases are clean. You're not twisting, rotating, spinning, picking, nothing like that.
Hair products not getting in there. There's a lot of variables. There's a lot of variables. But you got to be patient and be diligent about the cleaning. Make sure you keep it clean and it'll eventually get there. But expect a year. All right.
Okay, and then Aaron Owo.
Owo.
Kelsey, I am getting my cheeks pierced next week. I know the piercer will give me the info on everything I need to know, but I would rather buy anything beforehand. Would you have any suggestions? Sterile saline solution, gentle face wash, and mouth rinse that doesn't have any alcohol or like peroxide whitening agents in it. So Biotine is a really good one because it doesn't have all those additives. It's super gentle. But one of the most important things that I recommend people do is carry around a bottle of water, only because you don't want to use mouthwash all day, every day.
You're going to upset it.
Yeah, you're just going to make them mad. So rinsing your mouth out with clean water in between eating and drinking anything that isn't ice or water. Keeping up with ibuprofen, sleeping slightly elevated, it'll help with the swelling. Like when you get your cheeks pierced, you definitely get the chipmunk cheek effect. So,
and it goes back and forth for quite a while. It kind of fluctuates. So you got to kind of
like the first 6 to 8 weeks to 4 to 6 months. So, downsizing jewelry is super important. Cheeks are one of the more expensive end of piercings because you do have to downsize jewelry often. So,
and sometimes I've seen them take up to a full year because there's the amount of movement, the thick tissue.
The first time I had mine done, but this was before I found out that I was like very sensitive to steel. My cheeks just fluctuated constantly, and I would develop these like weird abscess pockets and everything. So yeah, make sure titanium jewelry is involved. Super important. Something hypoallergenic in a sense. So yeah.
And always be aware of it. I mean, I've never had my cheeks pierced with jewelry. I've had cheek skewers, and those have not really hurt at all. But I can't imagine trying to chew and get used to the disc back there. You'd think the same thing for a normal labret or something.
Be super cautious.
But you can bite down and do some damage.
Yeah, the second you bite down on that, ooh.
Yep.
It's not fun.
Miguel Gonzalez, I'm a pierce my vertical labret. Any tips?
They already asked.
We already did that one?
Yeah, they asked that before, and they said, any tips on piercing my vertical labret?
Yeah, go to a professional.
Yep. Chip
Hey,
Douglas.
Chip, how you doing, buddy?
I love my new conch piercings. They're doing pretty well so far. It was a great experience to finally get pierced by Scott. I can't wait to get pierced again by you next month for my birthday.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Yeah, thanks for being here again, man. I really... Sound keeps cutting out. It's back again. Okay. All right, so moving on. Elena T? Elena. Okay. Hello, love you guys. We love you too.
I love you.
And Will Jones. Guys, guys, I said last time my piercer's quitting. I talked to him, and he said he would still do guest spots, just not full time.
Oh.
Yeah, you said you were going to have him apprentice you, and then and there's no one else around. So
apprenticing under someone who is guest piercing is going to be really difficult. You're probably not going to learn the things that you need to, being just like a steady apprentice.
Yeah.
So.
But don't cut that piercer off entirely, because it's nice to have a network of other piercers where if you ever have a question or a problem, you can network with that person to find out the answer. So, yeah, and there's more than enough work for all of us piercers out there. There's some people who are so crazy about like keeping all the information themselves and they don't talk to anyone else. They're just trying to steal my secrets. It's not a secret. We're all in the same trade, and there's way more people than there are piercers. So, yeah. So keep them in the tight-knit community. Invite them here.
Yeah.
And
Robson, ADHD. Hi, Scott and Kelsey. Filtrum piercing, well on its way to being healed. Next
Nice.
up, vertical labret, and I'm also becoming a piercer. So excited. Yay.
we're getting more piercers, finally. Yes. There's a lot of piercers out there right now, but not enough good ones. So make sure you get some good training and be the piercer you would want to have. Umat Ara Gerbus. I'm sorry.
It's Turkish.
I'm sorry.
Scott's really bad at pronouncing names.
Terrible. Terrible. This is why people come here. They're just entertained by me trying to like, hey, let's see if you can pronounce my name. Like, no,
Right.
probably not. Probably not.
I think everybody should just like start changing their usernames to stuff that Scott's going to struggle pronouncing.
So it's Turkish, and you guys make me love doing piercings and having some.
So much love for you guys.
Thank you so much. Thanks for being here. Yeah, we love piercing so much. I can't get enough of them. It's my passion. It's my love. It's everything about my life is body piercing. I don't know if you can tell or not, but it's all I do. And
Tollefson, hey, I have a question. Can a VCH reject? Had it for over a year, and it's showing more and more of the bar. Kind of scary. So absolutely, these can reject. It kind of depends on.
Hey, Kelsey, what's a VCH?
VCH is a vertical clitoral hood piercing. It's the tissue around the clitoris that you can pierce vertically or even horizontally. And as far as rejection goes, it definitely can. It's kind of, I guess it kind of depends on the situation though. Like, are you like pulling on the jewelry? Are you using certain things that might be pushing the jewelry forward? You know, it could have been pierced kind of shallow.
That'd be my guess.
Yeah, that would be my guess. So,
Not
too heavy of jewelry. Like if you're wearing something that's kind of chunky in there and it's weighing down, it can definitely start
Titanium, yeah.
Yeah, it can definitely start to reject out. Titanium is a little bit lighter in weight, so I'd maybe try to switch it. But if you're seeing more and more of the length of the bar and it's like the tissue itself is just getting thinner and thinner around the jewelry, I would maybe recommend retiring it, letting it heal up, and then maybe having it pierced a little bit further back.
Yeah. Now, generally, when you get a VCH, there's something called the Q-tip test, where you take like the head of a Q-tip, and it should fit underneath that hood, so there's enough tissue to pierce. Some people are commission-based piercers and don't care about these things and just want your money. And even if you don't have the right anatomy, they're still going to do it. That could be part of the reason why it rejected.
Right. Like if you don't have enough tissue there, then that could also be the problem. But yeah, maybe seek out a reputable piercer. Have them take a better look at it. They'll probably be able to tell you.
But they can reject. It's pretty soft tissue. If it got irritated, if it was a little bit too shallow, inappropriate jewelry, all these things could cause it to reject. It's not common, but it's possible. All right. And Miguel Gonzalez. I nailed that one.
Yeah, you did. Good job.
Right. What's the process of becoming a professional piercer? Shut up. Apprenticeship. That's about the only real way you can become a professional piercer is by finding someone to be your mentor and teaching you. Now, generally, like here in Las Vegas, they say a minimum of 6 months for an apprenticeship. I think that's really, really short. I would guess closer to a year to 2 years is the average amount of time for an apprenticeship. And then once you're done with your apprenticeship, most of the time you need to test out. And this is going to be through the city, whether it's a state, city, county thing. It depends on where you're at. But I had to get a license. And just because I went through the apprenticeship, if I didn't pass that test, I wouldn't become a piercer. So that's what we had to do to get our license, basically.
Yeah. My apprenticeship personally was almost two and a half years long before I was actually signed off. And I've been piercing about 10 years now, and I still learn something new every day. So, yeah, find someone reputable who's willing to teach you everything that they know. You know?
So I mentioned quite a bit about calling the Wild West of piercing back in the day. And the reason I always say the Wild West of piercing is if you go back 20, 25 years, there were no laws. There were no regulations, nothing. It was just like, okay, you want to open a business? There you go. We don't know what this is. And that's why you saw so many messed up and bad idea piercings happen. Those were the days when I had like my mandible pierced and people were like, hey, I wonder if you can do this. And now there's regulations to make sure we stay safe.
Yes.
It was dangerous back then. All right. And
Stylish guava. That's fancy.
Yep, it says, I think your microphone audio cut off. I hear it come and go a little bit. I'm not sure why that's doing that. I got pretty good equipment here. It's probably just not hooked up right because I hooked it up.
Loose wires.
Loose wires. But the second half is a septum ring, a hoop ring, okay to put in an eyebrow piercing? Once it's healed.
Yeah, once it's healed, you can realistically put just about anything in it. That's obviously not too big or heavy. You don't want to get it caught on anything. So, I mean, I imagine, like, you know, I'm going to assume you're talking about the horseshoe style jewelry being in an eyebrow.
It could be a captive bead ring too.
Yeah.
Yeah. But okay, the thing is back in the day,
caught on everything.
I used to pierce with rings all the time in eyebrows, and we've had fairly good luck. Now, if you're talking about like the difference between a helix piercing and an eyebrow piercing, I would rather put a ring in an eyebrow than a helix. But get pierced with a curved barbell because that's still twice as good as that ring. Now, the thing is if you put a ring in there right away, a lot of times that curve is kind of like pointing in towards your face, which means the ring sticks out and won't lay down until it's healed and relaxed. That's why it's worth just getting the curved barbell to start off with. Yep. You ever done a ring in an eyebrow?
No.
I have.
Never. Old school.
It's been a long, old school.
I was giving crap for being old school. There's nothing wrong with being an old school piercer, but
times change, and sometimes you got to change with them. I did.
Yeah.
I did. I don't do it anymore.
All the time. We pierce in like such a different way that he's like, well, how did you do it this way? And I'm like, wait, how did you do that way? And then it's like, okay, well, that makes sense. I can see how that would work, so.
Yeah. Yeah. I suppose. I mean, think about it. Like back in the day.
There's so many different ways to pierce. Like the most important thing is the outcome, so.
I remember back in the day, my apprenticeship was about as bad as it comes. I didn't know anything. I was done with my apprenticeship and I knew I needed an autoclave. I still didn't know what one was. That's how bad my apprenticeship was. Oh, no. So I was very self-taught, and I just remember, like, first time doing a nostril piercing, my friend Chris is like, dude, it's just a nose. I mean, it's just a nose. Just do it. I'm like, okay. I think I used the receiving tube, and it was really, wild, wild west. Let me tell you.
My first nostril piercing was on my mom, and it was from the inside out. And I nailed it after I cried and started shaking and almost vomited everywhere. My mom was like, just do it. I was so scared.
It's so good to have a supportive family like that.
Yeah.
You know what? Still to this day, I've never done an inside-out nostril piercing.
I'll teach you.
Okay, I'll try one of these times. Yeah.
I'm serious. I will show you.
I mean, I understand the concept, but I've been doing it this way for like 27, 28 years. And
I can pierce from the inside out to pretty much anything except lips. I don't understand how people pierce from the outside going in on a lip. It just doesn't make sense to me. Like you're piercing inside of someone's mouth. Like it just makes more sense to me to like start from the inside and then like push away from the face.
Why?
Because I don't know, the needle going inside of someone's mouth just freaks me out a little.
The thing about the lip is it pulls out and you don't have to pierce into the mouth. Everything's still outside the mouth.
Right, but
what's the most important spot is the outside dot. That's always my logic. I don't want to miss that dot no matter what. So I always pierce outside in. Plus, I think it's a little less painful that way.
I
can't prove it, but I believe it.
We'll have a pierce off one day.
The needle gets dull as it gets used, so the exit hole is the most painful spot.
Scott's.
She's wrong, isn't she? Let me know in the comments. What would you guys rather have, outside in or inside out lip piercing? This is a crazy chat today. I like this.
We will have a pierce off one day. I know it. We talk about it all the time.
Deal. James the Piercer. What's up, James? I get a lot of requests to do the snake eye tongue piercing.
Yeah.
I always decline. What are your thoughts on that? You are 100% on the right. We got your back. Do not do snake eye piercing. That's horizontal through the tongue. You have basically two muscles that you're trying to connect together, you know, and they work independently. How do we know this? Yeah. She wouldn't be able to do that with snake eye piercing. So you can't do this. Plus that those beads are going to rub up against your gums and you're going to get gum erosion. And if you don't chip and damage your teeth, they'll eventually fall out.
Yeah.
Now,
so when your tongue is resting, you know, just like naturally, where does the tip of your tongue rest? It sits right in, like right where your teeth meet your gum line. So like eventually it does start to wear down that gum line and it doesn't really come back. So yeah, it's just bad. Yeah, your tongue is made up of several different muscles. The two main are the one in the front, and that's why, you know, we can do and say things. So when you're putting a piece of jewelry through that, you're then restricting it from doing like its natural abilities. So, you know, you get a lisp, it clicks on the back of your teeth. You know, I feel like healing that would be awful.
Yep.
So.
Yep. And the thing is I keep bringing up the whole Wild West thing. Back in the day when there was no laws or regulations, we did all this stuff and we realized what worked and what didn't.
That's why we don't do certain things.
Yeah, there are piercings now that people want because no one else has, and it's the new thing. It's not new. We already tried it and it didn't work. Now, my shop, we all have insurance for our shop, and the thing is I'm allowed to do all the piercings except for the snake eyes. My insurance company says if we catch you doing that, we're dropping you. I'm allowed to do all the genital piercings, all the crazy, but I cannot do snake eyes. It's the one piercing they said no. That should say something right there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's dangerous. Don't do it. Stick to your guns. Way to go, James. And Will Jones.
Hi, Will.
Do you guys pierce many male teachers? I'm thinking about becoming one, and I would quite
like to keep the ear piercings I have.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, we pierce a lot of different people.
A lot of teachers.
A judge. I just pierced a police officer the other day. It was pretty cool. We get a lot of different people from all over the place. Definitely teachers.
I've pierced a lot of teachers, and you know what? I almost became a teacher before I was a piercer because I was working at a Cub Scout camp, and I really loved teaching, but I was getting a lot of
Scott being a piercer.
A teacher?
A teacher.
You can picture me being a piercer?
Yeah.
But anyways, I was going to do it, but then I started getting so many mods and tattoos and piercings that I was like, I'm never going to get hired. Now it would be a completely different time, and you get away with it. Granted, there's some things you're not going to, you know, if you had like giant stretched nostrils like mine, you better be a pretty damn good teacher to get a job if you have stuff like this.
I had a teacher, he was my music and choir teacher, and he was awesome. His name was Mr. Combs. I hope he's doing good.
Yeah.
I should probably try to find him because it would be really cool. But he was actually like a really big influence as far as just like body piercing and like modification and everything. He had a tongue piercing, he had his eyebrow done, and he had a labret piercing. I believe he had his septum stretched, and
awesome.
I remember seeing him at the store, and he had a big old ring, and he had little plugs in. Like, he was really, really, really cool. So
I think it's good for teachers to be diverse like this because it's really teaching people not to judge a book by its cover. You know, like how many people out there are like, I'm not going to talk to them. They're like a freak, or like this is their religious belief, or this is their political belief. I'm not talking to them. We're all human beings and we all get along. And if you don't agree with someone, whatever.
Right.
Whatever.
And the way that someone looks, it isn't based on like their professionalism and how they'll do teaching. You know, I can understand where, you know, having certain things would become a distraction to certain things. You know, like if a teacher had like their nostrils stretched like yours, or like big ears and stuff like that, you know, I definitely feel like it would kind of be a distraction. But certain things like a couple of piercings or something, you know, I know teachers are only allowed to have like 2 or 3 piercings in an ear. They're allowed to have nose piercings.
I think it depends on how close you are to a major city too.
Right.
Like if you're in like 3-4 hours away from a major city and there's only like 50 people in your town, it's probably a little less likely you're going to be able to get away with that. You know, you have to be in a big, diverse city to guarantee that. But it's getting better and better as time goes on.
Yeah.
And moving on to Sarah Wardle.
Hi, Sarah.
Do glasses generally get in the way of a bridge piercing? My glasses aren't huge, but I wear them fairly high up on my nose.
Not typically. You know, I haven't really run into glasses being an issue for a bridge piercing.
I have seen it. It depends on the shape of the glasses.
Depends on the shape of the glasses, how high up they sit, but generally they'll sit right here on the nose and they won't even touch the bridge of the nose. So,
well, there's some glasses that don't have those little feet, to kind of raise the glasses. And if it's completely flush up and it's touching the area, it will cause problems.
Get different glasses.
That's what it comes down to. Priorities. Do you want to see or do you want to look cool?
Do you want a piercing? Or do you want to see? Or do you want to look cool?
All right. We got to move faster because we're getting a lot of
McGee. I'm a body piercer based in Belfast.
Right
I just
on.
wanted to say I love you guys. I've learned so much from you too. So thank you and stay awesome.
You stay awesome too, and thanks for being here. That is awesome. How long have you been piercing? I love it. If you're a piercer, let us know how long you've been doing it and where you pierce from, because I know there's more piercers in here than they admit. I love that.
We always like to know where we can refer people to, depending on where you're at. So that's always good to know. So yeah.
All right.
So next up, Chris K. Hello. How long until I can sauna with a fresh piercing? About 6 to 8 weeks, 4 to 6 months. It really just kind of depends on the piercing, though. Like earlobes, I feel like you should be able to sit in a sauna pretty much right away.
I think any piercing you can really sit in a sauna right away because it's a dry heat. It's not steam. Now,
and your body's natural sweat is almost like a natural saline, just rinse off with water after.
Your sweat is okay, other people's. Yeah. So if you had back dimples or fresh belly button piercing, you're laying on that wet wood on the inside. Ew.
Yucky.
Yeah, so just have common sense about it, and you should be totally fine with that. I will say my nipple piercings have always been my issue with the sauna, because I get out of the sauna and everything's kind of staying still and that metal heats up, but it's nice and slow. And then you kind of lean back and the ring presses these are hot, and you find yourself walking out with your arms out. It's not like it's going to burn you, but it's not comfortable, so.
I can only imagine how hot those get. Oh my gosh.
It gets warm.
Yeah.
It gets warm. Tollefson, another question. Can you get a lip piercing when you have filters?
Fillers. Absolutely. I have pierced several Ashleys. I've pierced several Filtrums, Monroes, Labret piercings, snake bites, name them. You can definitely get them. You might need to start off with something just a little bit longer in length, just because your lip is going to swell up really good. So
now here's my thing. Now, when you're getting lip fillers, if you already have piercings, could that make the piercing go crooked?
Yes.
Have you seen it?
Yes. If you look at mine, do you see where my double Ashley was? Do you see how they sit like this now?
Yes.
So I've had lip filler done about. I just had them done again the other day, but this was my third time having them done, and I had the double Ashley. And you can actually see where now they sit.
One's definitely raised higher, yeah.
Yep. Exactly, so.
Yeah, so keep that in mind. Keep that in mind.
So get the filler first.
I've had so many people ask that, and it's like, can I keep getting my fillers? And it's like, it's not going to sit where you want it to.
Yeah, but the thing is, too, is they'll have you leave jewelry in, and then they'll work around the jewelry, because the filler gets pushed in all sorts of different directions. So if they do push some in this way, they can then go underneath to push it back up.
If you took your jewelry out with that all irritated, you're going to lose your piercing. You have to leave it in there.
Yeah, so they'll tell you to, I leave this in when I'm getting my filler in, because they work around it.
I'm learning here, too.
Yeah.
I've never had filler. This is totally natural.
All natural.
Yeah.
I tried to convince him to put
Sarah Wardle. Next episode, Scott learns pronunciation.
Yes.
I don't know how I'm going to learn it. I don't know. I'll try. I'm trying. I always try. And if you haven't subscribed or hit that like button, definitely do that. We really appreciate it. And cheers. Another Dutch cheers. We love Dutch brothers.
Yay.
You're back to the team again. No Starbucks
I was
today.
cheating last week on Dutch
She
Bros.
wanted a sandwich as well.
I was trying really hard not to show you guys. I was trying to hide it, but then somebody pointed it out. I think it was Sarah actually.
Love you, Sarah.
Rebecca B. What kind of anatomy is required for a vertical transverse lobe? Does this piercing keep you from having other earlobe piercings?
No, it doesn't keep you from having other earlobe piercings, but it depends on what you want. Now, I saw a piercing that Kelsey did a couple weeks or a month ago, and you used a curved barbell.
I use curved barbells.
I only use straight ones. Again, this shows the difference in the style of piercing that we do. It looked phenomenal, but generally I need a lobe that's detached and kind of hangs down, not one that's attached completely to the side. If there's no ridge to grab a hold of, you're not going to be able to pierce it. And then the other thing is some people have really, really thin ears this way. You know, if your ear is too thin, we still need to run a bar through there and it's going to just cause it to reject. So you kind of have to have like fatty lobes, I guess. Medium to fatty lobes.
Yeah. I feel like I can pierce any lobe in the transverse. Just depends on the jewelry. But it always looks better on like the rounder, meatier lobes.
Yep. And you can always pierce above it.
It's possible. If you have an earlobe, I'm pretty sure I could do it. So
yeah, because there's high lobe piercings and there's other, you know, I've never done a double transverse. Some would have to have some big lobes, but yeah.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
That'd be really cool.
Yeah.
We gotta find somebody for that.
You know what? I saw someone one time that had like stretched earlobes and it broke, and they did a series of like 3 or 4 barbells connecting it all the way up there, so it kind of looked like a ladder
you'd
going
have to
up.
like let that shrink up really good and then get those pierced.
Well, it was still detached. It was like 2 flaps, and they're like we're holding it together with a bunch of kind of like a ladder going up.
I've seen earlobes broken and then they just like pierce each end.
Yes.
Put it back together.
All right, Emily Sakuma. I loved Billy last week. I hope he can come back to the show next time he comes to LV.
Oh,
absolutely.
Yeah,
we love Billy to death.
Billy.
How do you not love Billy?
Right.
Billy's
just literally the love of my life.
Billy's fantastic. He has great products. He has great knowledge because he's a piercer. He's totally into his rocks. He tried selling me all these crazy rocks, and I almost bought them, but I was like, I need more room for jewelry. I don't need rocks for my case. I need
more rocks.
We love you, Billy.
California man, hey guys, glad to see you guys doing this live stream again today. Can dermal anchors go anywhere on the body? I have seen in my home country that dermal anchors can be placed on the hand. Is this safe? So,
technically, they can go anywhere because you can put it there. Is it a good idea?
Not always.
No.
So I don't ever really recommend them on the hands, only because, you know, your hands are going in and out of places, like your pockets, depends on what you do for a living. So like someone who's a mechanic and stuff, like you're then risking getting a bunch of dirt and debris and all sorts of gunk in there. So, you know, putting gloves on and off all day long, like that can definitely take some wear and tear on those piercings. So they reject out. You know, if you imagine microdermal piercing should be put in like a fattier area. As far as this goes, you know, our fingers fluctuate and they round out when you make a fist, which then can start to push the jewelry out. So you always want to make sure it's in like a fattier, you know, like I've seen people heal.
Yes.
You know, microdermals in their wrist. I have a client who
past
is 12 years old, you know, microdermal in her wrists, and they're doing amazing.
Here's the thing about wrist microdermals. Laundry baskets are the #1 enemy. I've seen laundry basket. You reach in to grab clothing, you come out, and your piercing gets ripped out.
Oof.
I've seen it more times than I can count. I just got the hiccups. I get them every episode.
Yeah, he does.
And it's gone. So, and can they be placed anywhere? For the most part, they can, but if there's a lot of movement, they're going to reject out. They eventually reject out anyways, so the more stationary the tissue, the better chance you can have. Yeah. Now, back in the day, I haven't seen anyone do this in a long time, but people were putting dermal anchors in the tip of their nipple.
I've seen that before.
Ow.
I actually wanted it at one point, but then I was like, ooh, I don't think I could... The whole needle like straight into the nipple.
And getting it out. Sounds terrible.
No. I'm having nightmares.
All right.
Foggy, do you know if it's possible to order custom jewelry from somewhere? Like a custom length, no shape, has the length I need.
No shop.
Oh, no shop has the length I need.
What? It depends on what you're looking for. I mean, if you're looking for a barbell, they generally come in most lengths.
Yeah,
there's a
website
website
get them all the way up to like 2.5 inches, I think.
And you can do custom. There's definitely people who will do it. You just got to be careful where you're getting it from. If you go to a place like Body Art Forums, there used to be a spot where you could plug something in and you could search for the length, and it tells you which manufacturer is doing it, so you can trust this. When you go on Amazon or Etsy or places like that, I don't trust them. there's good people on there and there's more bad people than not. Now, the thing is when something says ASTM F136 titanium, people understand that that's a selling point and it's high-grade jewelry. But no one on Etsy or Amazon backs it up to prove that it actually is
There's
that.
mill certs, things called mill certs and everything. So having the mill certs and like certifications as far as what the jewelry is made out of, like that's important.
I hate saying it, but people lie on those things all the time.
All the time.
People come in and like, oh, look at my blue steel barbell. I'm like, steel? You can't make steel blue. That's paint. They're like, no. It's...
So I just had one of our clients come in the other day, and like he yesterday brought in like a whole bag of titanium jewelry. One section was from Body Art Forms and another section was from another company. And the one that was from Body Art Forms anodized beautifully. The other one just like burnt. Like it was like that weird foggy lavender blue color, you know? And I anodized them all at the same level and everything. So it was definitely titanium, but you could tell it was a lower grade of titanium.
Because there's many grades, yes.
So
because the ASTM F136 titanium we used is what is it, like 0.03 vanadium, and there's a little tiny bit of aluminum in there too, like barely any. It's less than 1% if I remember right, and that's just for
an amount that wouldn't affect. Somebody. But.
And those things are still pure metals that no one's really allergic to, and it's inert in there to get the grade where it's biocompatible with the body. So there's been a lot of tests and scientists who have done this. It's not us randomly making some things and saying, hey, I hope this works. It's been around for a while. Kelly Parsons.
Bless.
Excuse me. I probably have another one or two coming here up in a second.
Kelsey Parsons, what would you say about gauging the top of your ears? I would recommend maybe getting them pierced at a larger size. It's kind of hard to stretch cartilage, but it's possible. It's just kind of painful.
My nostrils I stretched from in 6 gauge all the way up to a 7/16. It's possible. It's extremely painful. It takes 10 times longer to do. Kind of depends on how far you want to go and what you want to do with it.
Yeah, cartilage hurts to stretch. So.
Yep. I have these up top here. Let me change my camera angle. You see how I got some plugs up top, but those were biopsy punched right at a 0 gauge. So.
Way smart.
Yes.
Yeah. Is to have something large gauge so that you can kind of see through it like that. Get it punched out.
I'm going to let you talk for a second. I need to go blow my nose. Otherwise I'm going to sneeze like crazy.
And then
I got headphones
on. So then we have Kian00. What are both of your opinions on someone doing their own piercings? Someone that is wanting to become a professional body piercer.
You can speak to me.
Okay. Becoming a professional body piercers and wanting to become familiar with the needle. So my biggest thing is not trying to learn at home because you're not the professional. You're learning from yourself. Getting familiar with the needle is part of your apprenticeship. So finding somebody reputable to apprentice you and take you on to help you get familiar with that is super important. Trying to figure it out on your own, you're not learning anything. So I wouldn't recommend getting familiar at home. So yeah, just look for somebody to help you. And then Foggy has another question. How do nipple piercings grow out? Do they only go forward, like away from the areola, or can they move up or down? Like, are you talking like just migrating in general? Because typically they won't. It depends on the jewelry that you're wearing. So if you're pierced with a barbell or pierced with a hoop and it's straight across at one point, but then over time while it's healing, they'll start to migrate down. That's based on the shape of the jewelry. So going straight across, they're going to heal nice and straight. But if you have something like this, like they will start to kind of migrate downward. So if that's what you're talking about. Yeah.
I'm back. My nose is clean.
Hi, Scott. Yay.
You guys probably didn't need to know all that. All right, so where are we at here?
I've already done
this one. Okay.
And then Aaron, oh well, glad you passed the test, Scott. We may have been watching Burgers by Scott.
All right. And Flo, hello guys. I have a third lobe piercing done a month ago and it's been acting up lately. All red and swelling. Can I still keep cleaning it without the risk of irritating it further? Third holes are weird. They're still lobe, but they kind of sometimes act like cartilage, and they're more prone to irritation. I don't know if it's just because it's higher up and you're more prone to hitting it, or if they might have nicked a little bit of the cartilage in there and caused more irritation, but they are known for this. Make sure you have a long enough post so it's not too tight, because sometimes if it's too tight, that's going to be causing the problems. And generally just once a day. Less is more. Use the wound wash spray. You can spray it on the front and the back directly on there, and once the crusties and everything gets nice and soft, you wipe it off with a paper towel. That's it. Less is more. And I put a couple different wound wash. Let's pull them up because we keep talking about that. I got 3 different brands out here today. These are the 3 most popular ones that we possibly have. First one here is going to be H2 Ocean. Fantastic. They've been around forever. It's a wound wash, but it does have other enzymes and chemicals in there to help aid in the healing. Some people have problems. A lot of people do not.
Yeah, so this would be for, I would recommend people who have more of like a humid climate. Because it has the sea salt in it and lysozyme. What's that? Lysozyme.
I don't remember. I
don't even really know what that is. We'll have to look that up. But yeah, it has sea salt. So H2 Ocean has a higher salt content than most just sterile wound washes. So the NeilMed Piercing Aftercare, this is just a simple wound wash. Drug-free, preservative-free, no burning or stinging. This doesn't really have much salt in it, if any at all.
Hey, check this out. I just looked it up here. What does it say here?
Is a
membrane.
Can't read that.
Membrane bound
cell organolyte that contains digestive enzymes.
It's involved with all various cell processes. So it's a.
They break down excessive what?
It stopped right there.
Interesting. I don't know if that's like cell rejuvenating or if that eats it away. If it eats it away, I wouldn't recommend it.
They break down excessive worn out cell parts. Oh, okay. So it kind of gets rid of the bad stuff for you.
Okay.
And maybe used to destroy invading viruses and bacteria. So it's kind of an antibacterial kind of, it helps fight the infection at the same time. The other ones don't do that at all. That's just going to be the H2 Ocean. I'm a big fan of less is more. I think you've heard me say it like 100 times already. And these 2 here are just saline. This has a little additive chemical. So it's whatever works best for you. Now this one here is Steri-Wash. I love this company. They're fantastic. And next to it is going to be NeilMed. NeilMed's the one that my shop carries, the one that I like best. Now, the only real difference between these 2 is the way it dispenses out of the top. Like, I think
this is a super fine mist. It's very gentle. This is more, well, I feel like this is even more. This is like
a little bit more intense.
A little more intense, but it's super fine.
But it's personal preference. If you like any of them, definitely go with it. So, woo.
Yeah.
You got a wet table here now. Oh, you know what? I didn't spraying it all over.
Oh.
Ah, let's do it one more time. Spray, spray.
Ooh, that one like.
There we go. So that's kind of the difference there. So
yeah, H2 Ocean I recommend, again, if you're in more of like a humid area or humid climate. Here I don't recommend it because we have more of like the dry heat. As far as the dry heat goes, this will dry out your piercings. This is one of the main things that we get when people are like, okay, well, what do you use to clean your piercings? I use H2 Ocean. Stop using H2 Ocean. Do something that's more of just like a sterile water. So the Piercing NeilMed Aftercare, this is the one that I recommend for out here because it doesn't dry out your piercing and it just like cleanses it really
Climate
well.
Is huge, depending on what works for you.
Climate is a huge thing when it comes to healing piercings.
Some people need the soap in that area. Sometimes, like, soap causes way more problems. Soap's never recommended to get inside the body, but, you know, it can cause irritation, too. So, all right.
Ursula's Odds and Sods. Oh, wait. No. Sorry.
No, you get to pronounce that name.
How many piercings have you got in your nose?
I could be talking to both of us here, so.
6. Scott has 6.
And I do have a septum piercing, but I don't wear jewelry, so technically 7. So
I have 5.
Yeah. So I got 2 forward mantises, 2 plugs in the nostrils, the high nostrils, a bridge, and my septum's pierced. And it's probably at about a 4 gauge right now, but I don't wear jewelry. It pushes out my plugs and it looks weird. And what do you have? You have nostrils, high nostrils.
Nostrils, high nostrils, and septum.
Stacked septum. Nice. Cool. Now we're moving on to Ursula's Odds and Sods.
Hey, girl. What's the right way to tell my piercers they've been downsizing me either too soon or to bars that are too short? My ears have a history of swelling way more than average and staying swollen even longer. Your piercer should know whether you're ready to downsize or not. That's one of the biggest things. And if they are downsizing you when you're still super swollen to something that's way too short, that's going to cause problems. So pay attention to your own body. If you don't feel, I've had to put longer bars back in several piercings when the too short bars caused new swelling. So like 9 times out of 10, when you do swap out something from the initial post to something a little bit smaller, you're going to swell right back up. Maybe not just as much as like you had swelled up in the beginning, but when downsizing jewelry, you should still have just a slight bit of amount, like just like a tiny bit of length on there.
It's
just to allow for that fluctuation, because once you take that jewelry out and the jewelry passes through and then you put a new piece in, it just swells right back up for.
And here's the deal. It's your body. You can say no. Say, no, I'm not ready yet. I'm going to leave it a little bit longer. Last time I had problems, I'd rather err on the safe side.
Right.
And they'll be able to do that. And if you have to set up an appointment, just don't set up the appointment that soon.
Yeah.
Just give it a little bit more time.
You know your own body. And from what I know, you have several piercings and you already kind of know how to take care of your piercings. If you don't feel like you're ready to have a piercing downsized, then don't even go to have it downsized. So
I have one client. I feel like I know every time she comes in, I'm going to have to put a longer bar in whatever last piercing I was. And every time I pierce her, I overcompensate, think I give it enough room. This last week, I just pierced her again, and I did some mantis piercings on her. And she came in like 4 or 5 days later. I'm like, are you kidding me? I put in the longest bars we have. There's more than enough room. And she came in because she got a caught on the towel and yanked on it. I just wanted to double check on it. And I was so happy. It was the first time I haven't had to put longer bars. Some people swell a lot. Some people heal slower. Everyone heals at a different rate. If it was one person, there would be one style of wound wash or one style of aftercare that works for everyone. But it's not. It's not the case. So, you can say no. You can say no. And just let them know you're not comfortable with it yet. Just give it a little bit more time. And that's what you say. You've had to put in longer bars back in several piercings when the too short bars caused even new swelling. Let them know. Say, hey, when I sleep at night or whatever, I wake up, these things are way too tight, so you need to make sure there's a little bit. Just let them know. Just let them know, and they should be able to understand. I know a lot of piercers and tattoo artists kind of get big heads and like, I know, but we don't know your body, and sometimes we need to be told. Yep. All right.
Dark. Good evening. I'm planning to get snake bites done soon, but I have a more prominent small vein on one side. How close is too close, and how bad would it be to hit a vein in the mouth area? It kind of depends on the vein. We don't really have like any main veins right here in the snake bite area. You have little like blood vessels on the inside. If you hit it, you just might bleed a little bit. It might swell up a little bit more. It might cause a little bit of bruising. But as far as dangerous goes, it's not super dangerous. Like we do have a vein that's like in our bottom lip that like if you hold your bottom lip, you can kind of feel your heartbeat in it. But we pierce Ashley's all the time, and sometimes you nick it, and it's.
And if you've ever gone to the doctor and had blood drawn, you know that veins roll and move around, and sometimes they don't get it on the first time because the things move. So that's kind of a factor too. Now, here's the other thing to think about. They'll make you feel more comfortable. People split their tongues with scalpels. You split a tongue, and if you can do that, a little tiny needle is not going to do damage to a lip.
And like the veins that are on the bottom of the tongue, sometimes people have like crazy looking veins.
Yes.
You can actually like roll those and push them to the sides in order to like properly pierce them and not hit that. If you do hit it, they bleed a lot. They'll bruise. They'll, all sorts of stuff can happen.
But it's not a trip to the hospital.
Yeah, it's not necessarily a trip to the hospital.
It's just a mess.
Yeah, it's just messy and a little painful. So.
Yeah, it's not optimum, but it can happen. So, All right, James the Piercer.
Outside in for sure. Got to hit that dot.
Okay.
Whatever. I hit my dots.
Way to go, James. That was the whole thing of like, should you pierce lips inside out or outside in? And I do the outside in just like James does. It's the way all proper piercers do it.
Whatever.
Not true at all. Not true at all. And Savannah, should I take out my Medusa? After having it 2 weeks, I saw an indentation on the gums. Ooh. Have you downsized? You probably haven't downsized your jewelry yet. It swells a lot and could cause a little damage in the beginning, but once the swelling's gone down, if you've downsized, a lot of times it pulls it away. So I'm not going to say yes, but I'm also not going to say no. Depends on how much damage has been done to the gums.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes like you go talk to your piercer and say, hey, can we downsize this today? I'm having gum problems. And if you do it and you still feel it rubbing up against here the next day, then I would say maybe you should take it out. Lean on the air, more of caution than...
Yeah, have a piercer take a look at it.
Yeah. And...
Human emulator.
We got a robot here.
Robot.
Hey guys, I currently don't have any cartilage piercings, but I really wanted paired high nostrils. Do you have any advice and recommendations for high nostril piercings? I know they can hurt a little bit. They hurt a little bit. I don't know if hurt is the right word. It's awkward. Having tools that far up your nose is not comfortable, and you want to find a piercer who's experienced and is able to do this quicker. If it's their first time, granted, we all piercers need to start somewhere, but if you find someone more experienced, it's going to be an easier, faster piercing for you. I remember the first ones I did, they were rough. I wasn't sure how I was going about it.
The first set I ever did was actually on myself.
She's crazy.
And so in the mirror, when I'm looking in the mirror, everything's kind of backwards. So like changing my jewelry out and everything, I'll just like close my eyes and I do like the feel and everything. But yeah, I was looking in the mirror and I like overcorrected myself going in. And I meant to push back towards my face, but I went forward and I started to see the needle come out of the tip of my nose. And so I like backed out a little bit. I called my mentor and I'm like, oh my gosh, I could like see it come out of the tip of my nose. And he was like, back it out. So I back it out a little bit and blood just starts pouring out of the needle. And I'm sitting over the myo tray and like my myo tray is just like filling up with blood. He was like, what are you doing? Take it out. So I take it out and like blood is still spewing out of my nose. It was awful.
There is actually
there was blood on the mirror across the floor.
There's actually an artery up in that area that's kind of a little further back. So you want to get it done right.
Oh, it was so bad.
Are you ambidextrous? Can you use both hands?
I can use both hands. So my left hand,
I don't like
believe it or not, was like way easier.
My left hand does not hold a needle. My old apprentice said the same. Why don't you just use your left hand? I'm like, what? What? He's like, can't you just... And I'm like, no, not everyone can do that.
Yeah. Well, not all of us are skilled.
So, are those the same ones you're still wearing? Old school piercing.
They never learned with their left hands. So.
No, we didn't.
But yeah, these are the same ones. So
all right,
definitely heal them.
So yeah, an advice, like I said, bring someone who's going to be positive, a good friend who's not going to be like, oh my God, is the needle really that big? Are they supposed to be bleeding that much? Some people shouldn't be brought into the piercing room with you. So bring the right person with you. Eat a nice big meal the night before, and also get a good night's sleep. If you go in there all hungover, no sleep, and stressed out, it's going to be a worse experience. So get yourself in the best physical condition within a day or two. It's not like you have to go to the gym and work out for a week or two to go get a nostril. But yeah, get a good night's sleep, good meal in your system, and a good support team, and you'll be fine. Mm-hmm. And finishing that up with much love. Much love right back at you. Thanks for the awesome question.
Sarah Wardle, if I ditch the glasses, I could rock a bridge piercing and a big bump on my head when I walk into something. Well, we don't want you to do that. But.
No, not at all. Oh. You know, back in the day, I had this guy come into the shop. I was working at St. Sabrina's. This was like 96 and 97. And he came in. He's like, I need to talk to a piercer. I got this idea for an invention. He goes, you do a bridge piercing and you can clasp your glasses onto the bridge. And I was like, that's a terrible idea.
Yeah, no. So like the jewelry, someone was saying something about.
I've actually seen them. Someone pulled through. Yeah.
Something to where it's like a magnet on the glasses, so it like doesn't go on your ears. They're like the bandless glasses that just like clip to a magnet on their bridge, or get like the magnet implant. That's what they were talking about.
Magnet implant. That would make a little bit more sense. Sorry. I was like, because all our steel and titanium is non-magnetized, so it wouldn't work as well. But if it was attached to that jewelry, your piercing will reject and it's going to get ripped right out.
Yeah, don't do it.
It seems like a great idea, but I don't know if
Such a
anyone's
great
perfected
idea.
it yet. So
C. Diamond. Can smaller traguses be pierced? Absolutely. I haven't really run into anyone who doesn't have anatomy for a tragus piercing. Even
I
little
have.
tiny ones, yeah.
I have. It's just like where it sits flat against the face and it immediately goes super, super thick and there's nothing protruding.
Okay.
And it's just like, it's pretty rare. Most people can get it done. And here's the thing about traguses. Your traguses angle back. Okay, so when you're looking, it's kind of like, look at how thick my hand is. Well, it's a lot thicker when you hold it like this, but you're seeing it like this. You're not seeing the true angle. Have a friend or do a selfie from the side of your ear, and it'll probably look bigger from the side than on front.
Usually what I'll tell clients when I am marking the tragus, that when they look directly in the mirror, it's going to look like they're way too far out this way, but like from the side view of the tragus, it's right dead center, and it's going to be pierced through a lot more tissue than they're expecting.
Yeah.
So I'll show them with the handheld mirror exactly where it's going to be. So you probably have anatomy for a tragus piercing, whether it's small or not. It's more than likely still pierceable. So I've never run into someone who can't get a tragus piercing done, and I think you've only run into like what?
A couple. Very few. It happens.
Yeah.
So on another note, Kelsey.
Yes.
Did you change out your doth piercing?
I did.
I love it. That looks fantastic.
So I've had this piece in my jewelry box. I just moved it to a house.
Turn your head to the side so you can see it. It's got this little ring with the little gems going all the way around. It's beautiful.
It's Invictus.
Beautiful. All right. Way to go, Invictus. Way to go, Kelsey. Good choice. I was just sitting here, I'm looking, I'm like, I think that's new.
I've had this piece for a while. I used to wear it in my stacked septum because I liked the flared look, and then I got new jewelry. So then, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And hey, if you guys haven't hit that like and subscribe, definitely do that. We really appreciate it. All right. And Michaela McGee, thank you so much. I've been piercing for 5 years, and I've been piercing from
Picasso's Penthouse Tattoo Studio in Belfast City Centre. I'm Piercings by Lala and work with Piercings by Vesti. I'm going to have to find you. I'm going to find you, right?
Yeah. Awesome. So Belfast City Center, where is that? Do you know? Well, I guess we'll find out here when you look it up. So awesome. And James the Piercer, love the shirt, Scott. Yeah, another fellow cigar smoker, I'm sure. I love my cigars. I can't say, like piercings and cigars. And I also love bowling and foosball too.
Oh, it's in Ireland.
Right on, Ireland.
Wow.
Cool. Definitely add.
Cool.
Thanks for letting us know that. And if you're looking to get pierced in Ireland, definitely go check out Michaela.
Yeah.
All right, and Will Jones. Can I wear a motorcycle helmet with multiple ear piercings? I have 3 helixes and a tragus. I just want to get a bike. I want to get a bike too, and I definitely would be wearing a helmet. I have not done as much homework on the different helmet styles. Have you had an experience with helmets?
So actually a client just came in yesterday. Wait, that was her cheek piercing, not ears.
Okay. I've had clients come in with lots of problems because of helmets.
Yeah.
But I know there's a lot of different designs, so I don't know if there is something that is a piercing-friendly helmet. If you guys know of anything like this, let us know in the comments. That would be great.
I found you.
Nice.
I'm following you. I'm going to stalk you right now.
And Will Jones, Scott, I love the T-shirt. Thank you. Me too. There's a shop in town called Infuego Cigars, and they're an awesome shop. I meet so many cool people there, and this is kind of supporting their shop. And it's funny because one day I was wearing the shirt while I was at work, and this girl calls up, and I knew her dad because they go to the cigar lounge, and she's like, "Yeah, do you guys do belly button piercings?" I'm like, "Yeah, is your dad Michael going to be bringing you in?" She's like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah." I said, "I know Michael." And it just happened they came in the following day, and I happened to be wearing the shirt. And Michael comes in, he's like, "Hey, dude, nice shirt," And it was this weird coincidence that
Oh, that you were wearing it?
that I was wearing his shirt for his shop when he came in to shop at mine. Locals support locals.
Yes, they do.
All right, Kelsey Parsons.
Oh, and I would like to say that I love your bat tattoo, Kelsey. Thank you.
It is pretty awesome.
An artist named Brittany out here, Demon Drool on Instagram. She's been working on that for a little while.
Will Jones, it's crazy how you get pierced by. It's crazy how who you get pierced by can change what you end up getting. With my old piercer, I had ideas of large gauge conches and flats and being a piercer. Now I don't know about getting any more. It changes as time goes on. I mean, jewelry can be a factor. Piercers can be a factor. Your friends, what they have can be a factor. You know, it's like how many people say, I had it first, you know, and it's like, no, they didn't. There's other people who had it first. But, you know, of the groups of friends, people like to either emulate or do completely opposite. And same thing with piercers, you know. I had another piercer back in Minnesota that was doing the same thing to me. It was kind of weird at first. I mean, I should be flattered, but like he shaved his head, got a tattoo on his head, got dots tattooed underneath his eyys, and then started stretching his nostrils. And I'm like,
you're a copycatter.
He's like 5 foot. I'm 6'3". He's like, you're like my dad. You know, this is weird.
Yeah, that's cool. You should feel, what is it? What's the word?
Flattered.
Flattered.
I am.
Yeah.
All right.
Sebda, hey, I hope you two are doing well. Stopping by for emotional support as usual.
We love having you here. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Yeah. And if we can help cheer it up a little bit more, I'm glad to do that. Yeah, I'm kind of on a roll today as far as name pronunciation and like.
Dang, look at you go.
All right, and Easy Being Green 84. Nailed that one, though.
Good job.
Thank you. I have a flat piercing that was done at a 20 gauge, and my new piercer suggests that I get it stretched. It does have a bump on the back of it. Do I need to get rid of the bump before stretching? Yes and no. I mean, the bump could be there because you have such a thin piece of jewelry in there. I don't know. I'm a big fan of like 16 gauge. I've never had much luck.
Anything in cartilage, I'll typically pierce at an 18-16. I mean, ears, definitely a 16 gauge, but
especially flat.
Yeah,
because that one can shift and move, and the thinner the wire, it's more like a cheese cutter effect, and it's more likely to migrate and change, which is probably why you have the bump on there.
Yeah.
Be my guess.
Or you're sleeping on it. So sleeping on it can definitely cause that bump, because if you imagine like this being your ear and the piece of jewelry in it, if you sleep on it, it applies pressure, you know, once it pushes down, which then it'll sit where it feels most comfortably. And then you're sleeping on that for hours on end. So it's getting used to having that angle. So that it starts to migrate and kind of heal that way. So make sure you're not sleeping on it. Make sure that I would maybe
don't stretch to a 16.
Yeah.
Stretch to an 18. Give it some time, and then maybe eventually up to the 16, and downsize when you can.
And if you have a hoop in it, a lot of times like people have like a 20 gauge hoop in there. So if you have a hoop, that could be what's causing the bump as well. So keeping in mind when you're pierced at a straight angle, healing at a straight angle is pretty ideal. If you get pierced at a straight angle and you put something curved in it, you're going to start getting those pressure bumps on there. So. Yeah. Yep.
And it's time for me to give Kelsey a little hard time here. When you put your hands in front of the mic, they can't hear you.
I'm really bad with this thing. I'm like, hello.
We're going to get some headphones on her soon.
So I'm all the way back here.
I'm like, move forward. Okay. And Will Jones, I'm still healing piercings. And for downsizing, I like to have O-rings on the bars so when I can keep them snug all the time when I swell up and still have enough room. I totally understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
We put in longer bars, and those O-rings kind of are like little space fillers. Now, the only thing I'm going to say, Will, is be careful, because if you put too small of an O-ring on there, they have gotten sucked inside the piercing, and the skin grows around it. I had a friend, his name was Seamus. Seamus is awesome. Seamus, yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. Anyways, we did some large gauge lobe piercings on him, and I didn't realize it, but the O-ring got sucked into his ear, and he said he lost his O-ring. So we put another O-ring on there, and after a couple more weeks, he's like, Scott, this ear is not doing good. I don't know, it really hurts. And I went to go take it out to take it clean, and I pulled the O-ring from the middle of his ear. So he was trying to heal inside there. So be careful the O-rings don't get sucked inside. And then the other big factor with O-rings is a lot of them are latex based. So if you get a clear one or a colored one, a lot of times those are silicone based, and they're going to work much, much better for you. So make sure it's not a latex base being introduced to the bloodstream, because you could develop an allergy over time.
If you don't already have one.
Yeah.
Which you'd probably know right away. It gets really itchy, and then like the dry red skin, and it's not comfortable.
That is a great point, Will. If it seems like the jewelry's too long, sometimes just a little O-ring on there, you don't have to downsize, and it's enough to hold it in place where it stops it from migrating. So thank you so much for bringing that up. Will, I'm always really impressed by your comments. You're always just helping out so darn much. We love you. All right. And Rachel Barr. Hey, what is your opinion on dermals? Well, let's start with Kelsey.
I love microdermals personally. I'm pretty sad that they've been from here. I don't know if it's just the county or the state or the city, but we're not legally allowed to do them anymore. And when I found that out, I was pretty bummed. I don't know exactly why, but
I'm guessing a couple bad eggs ruined it for us all.
Yeah.
It's normally how it goes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Or, people go to the doctor and then the doctor is like, oh, we need to surgically remove this. It comes out the exact same way that it was put in. Sometimes you might have to take a little needle out and then nick a piece of tissue that's healed over around the base of the microdermal. But yeah, I don't know. I was super bummed. I love those piercings. I love doing those piercings, but I'm not allowed to anymore.
So my 2 cents on this is that everyone thinks that these things are a forever thing, and they're not a forever thing. I think 11 years is about the longest I've ever seen one last. They almost always reject. I would say probably most people expect 2 to 4 years. 2 to 3 years seems to be kind of the average.
Depends on the area.
It totally depends on the area.
Anywhere on the chest is usually where I have people that have issues. But then again, mostly women, people who put lotion or body spray or perfume on. Those are all factors in irritating these piercings. So loofahs also. So when you're scrubbing or washing, just catching them. I used to have them around my eyes, and I just decided one day that I didn't want them anymore, so I took them out. I never had issues with them. They were fine. They healed really well. You can't even really tell where I had them. I had one on my forehead, which recently, so I had it for 7 years, and then I snagged it really bad on a towel.
That's all it takes.
And yeah, and then it just started to kind of hang out a little bit, and then my daughter pulled it, so I just decided, okay, it's time to take it out. But I'll probably get it done again because I really do miss that one.
I've got cobras on my arms, and this cobra here had 2 gems in its eyes, and it looked phenomenal. But it's one of those things where placement is everything, because as soon as I put my hand down on the table, I hit it. I walk by a door frame, it's the first thing it's going to catch, and it just stayed red and upset the whole time. There's very few times that I actually had it looking healing and healed real well. And the other thing is it did take some color out of the eyes of the tattoo.
Yeah,
so they would have to, the scarring is real.
Another thing that's based on placement and everything, scarring can be so much worse. You can't even really tell around my eyes where I had them. This one's more recent, so you can kind of see where it was, but yeah, anywhere on the arm, I feel like you definitely get. So
it can happen.
That would be
for
worse.
Sure. All right, and B, on a scale of 1 to 10, how painful was the chest tattoo?
When I first started getting it done, I never really had to use numbing cream, but as I age, like a fine wine,
no numbing cream here ever.
I had to start using numbing cream, so it's really up there with an 8, like a solid 8.
I have chest tattoos, and the closer we got to the sternum, the more painful it definitely did get. I never enjoyed getting my chest tattooed, but I love having them. But the greatest part about the chest tattoos is they don't hurt anymore.
Yeah, they're fine now.
Pain's temporary. Builds character.
It only hurts while you're getting it, and then after,
yeah.
It's great.
Okay, Rebecca B., did either of you ever want to go into another career besides piercing?
Yeah, actually.
Yes.
Before I actually started working at Scott's shop at Piercing Vegas, I actually thought about quitting piercing and then going to school for forensic pathology. And then, I actually considered moving out of state to be closer to my mom, but and then I saw Scott was hiring, so I decided to give piercing one more go, and I'm really glad that I did.
Good. We're glad to have you.
Yeah.
Back
in love with it. So
the reason why I moved to Las Vegas was to retire from piercing. At the time, I'd been piercing 18 years, 19 years, something like that. And I thought I was wanting to be a truck driver, over-the-road truck driver. I want to see the country. I want to be able to travel. And I realized I was just kind of burnt out in the area I was at. The area I was at didn't get tourists. It wasn't as diverse as Las Vegas. And just moving to Las Vegas reinvigorated everything. I did drive truck for probably about 2 months. I was 2 months on the road straight. And I was just I was hating it. I really was. I mean, I was listening to podcasts. I could smoke my cigars, but I'm like, if I'm bored after a month to 2 months of doing this is not going to work out.
Scott is way too much of a people person to do anything that he's just like in, what is it called?
Solitude, yeah.
Solitary confinement.
And the funny thing is like after I got done, every one of my friends like, yeah, we knew that wasn't going to last. I'm like, why didn't anyone say anything?
So that's actually when I met Scott. He was actually, I was apprenticing at the piercing shop here in Las Vegas, and he was hired on. He was there for maybe like 2 days, I think. I think
it was about 2 weeks, a week or 2 weeks,
2 weeks or something like that, yeah.
And I was like, it's just a part-time job while I went to school for trucking.
And then he started trucking, and I was like, yeah, that's not going to last. Like, him sitting in a truck, I couldn't picture it at all. So, I'm glad it didn't work out, because now here we are.
Yeah, and before I became a full-time piercer, I was really looking to get into elementary education. I thought I wanted to teach because I worked at Cub Scout camp. And I totally would have done that if it wasn't for all my tattoos and piercings, which have restricted my job opportunities. And then after about, I think, 10 years of piercing, I was looking to becoming a paramedic. But then I had a bunch of people who came into the shop and they were talking about paramedic. And I was like, I was thinking about doing it. And they're like, they'll never hire you with tattoos on your face and your head. Like, there's no chance of ever getting a job. And I'm like, that's really sad. If I really wanted to do it and I was passionate about it, who's going to complain? I just saved your life. I'm like, ooh, you have tattoos?
Right.
Like, I seriously doubt that's going to happen. But I need to get hired in order for that situation to happen. So that was another career I was looking at getting into. Yeah, teaching or paramedic was kind of my thing. Mm-hmm. I always knew I wasn't.
One of my main clients is a paramedic, or he's what is it called? I don't know if it's an EMT.
I think EMT is lower than paramedic. I think paramedic is more schooling and they can administer drugs. And I think EMT is. I could be wrong. I'm not 100% sure. Let us know in the comments.
But yeah, I pierced his cheeks. He was allowed to have those for a little while. He started stretching his ears again, and then he started going to school to become a doctor. And he had to take everything out. So depends on what field you're going into. So and then James the piercer, I pierce with both hands depending on which side of the body I need to be on. Samesies. Ambidextrous.
I guess you guys are better than me. I don't know. I make do. That's why I have people laying down. And if you're a piercer and you can only use one side of, like, one hand works for that, lay them down, because all your angles are still there perfectly. It's when you're sitting up. That's why a lot of people, like, for a nostril piercing, like, if you're sitting up and I'm trying to pierce your right side, the receiving tube goes in here and my hand's all awkward like this, and I'm trying to do the pierce. And it's like, what the heck am I doing? You lay them down and it's the same angle on both sides. So that's why I do it the way I do. All right. And dark. I think that's how you're supposed to pronounce it.
Dark.
Thank you so much for the answer on the lip veins. Absolutely. That's what we're here for. I'm glad to help out. Yeah, don't worry about it. It's totally worth it. Alice Durrell. Hey! How you doing, Alice? Christine, hoping to get my floating navel done soon by the piercer I work with, if I have the correct anatomy, of course. Is there a difference in healing times with this piercing versus the traditional navel?
I'd say it's pretty similar, 4 to 6 months to a full year. You are pierced a little bit deeper than average navel piercing.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I kind of feel like that might heal faster because it's like not out, like facing outward in a sense. So really depends.
And like the thing is people choose sometimes, like, I'd rather have the floating navel, and it depends on the shape of your navel. If you don't have a ridge and it's really deep, a traditional navel won't work as well as the floating navel. And if you have a natural ridge and it's like there's no tissue to get it in there deep, then you can't really get the floating navel. So it kind of depends on your anatomy, what works best for you. Mm-hmm. Sarah Wardle.
Is piercing yourself worse than being pierced by someone else, as you know when you are hurting yourself? It's so much easier to just have somebody else pierce you because... I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of piercing myself. I've pierced myself for as long as I can remember.
When you pierce yourself, is it faster or way slower?
It's way slower.
Yes.
For whatever reason, I can't just do it. I have to
Yeah, that's always been there. I've never seen someone pierce themselves with it.
And it's really slow so I can feel less and less and less, but it just prolongs that pain.
Watch them TikTok videos of people piercing themselves. It's not fast. You can count
Amanda
seconds.
Pierces herself like a freaking beast. It's crazy.
Rarity though. Rarity.
Oh, no. She has like, I don't know if she has a pain tolerance or not, but yeah, she does a lot of body suspension performances and travels with a bunch of different conventions. And yeah, she just like pierces herself like it's nothing, and it's super quick and easy, and it's like, I don't know how she does it.
So I imagine you can almost separate the people by like, are you the type of person who's like ready, set, go, you know, or are you this person like, I'm just going to do this, you know? If you're the ready, set, go person, it's not going to be fast.
Awesome. All three, I'm like, what? I don't know how.
Beast mode.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so I think that's...
She's the first and only person to hang by one heel. She's like got the world record for like single point suspension, and she did it from her heel.
Would not recommend this.
Here's her own heel. Don't do that at home, obviously. And I know we haven't really talked about body suspension much, but yeah, that's crazy.
Speaking of crazy like that, my friend Crazy Shane.
Crazy Shane.
Crazy
I've heard
Shane.
so many stories about this guy, and I really want to meet him one day.
You will. He's
will.
awesome. He's awesome. He did his own piercing one time. He did a sternum piercing here in between his chest with a 4-gauge needle, put the 4-gauge hook in there, and then pulled himself up.
Nope.
He earned the title Crazy.
No thanks.
I've also seen him jump off ladders with suspension hooks, and it's like,
Yep.
freaks me out. Freaks me out. I'm like, what are you going to do with this? All right. Alice Durrell, been liked and subscribed for, I think, a year or two now. Love your content. Thank you so much. It's so nice having people subscribed and letting us know who's actually watching here. And when you hit the like, it actually works for the algorithm to spread it out to other people. So not only is it like, if you like the channel and you don't hit the like, it's like holding us back a little bit. So just hit the like. It's just a quick, you could be done by now.
We know you like us.
Okay, Rebecca B. What's an old school piercing that you wish would come back in style?
That's a good question.
Oh, nape piercings, the back of the neck.
The back of the neck, yeah.
Some of the first surface piercings, they're the ones that heal the best. They're awesome, and people are so shocked when they see them. Like, when's the last time you did a nape? Was it me?
Yeah.
Was that a year ago now?
About a year ago, yeah.
Almost a year ago,
I
yeah.
had just started working at the studio, and you were like, I really want you to pierce me. I was like, okay. It was fun.
I love
Still
that.
has it. It's super flush.
It's perfect. I love it to death, yeah. The only part that I don't like about it is when I shave my head, I have to put my finger over the bar so I don't grab a hold of the jewelry and yank on it. But if I know where my finger is, I use it as a guide. So one of these days, I'm probably going to shave my finger.
Yeah.
All right. Will Jones. Belfast is in Northern Ireland. It is a
distinction that can be very important to the Irish. It's a separate country. Oh, interesting.
Oh, thank you.
Really
I was not aware of that. Awesome. Awesome. Cool.
Awesome.
And Stephen Roberts. Kelsey, I love your plugs. What size are they?
I actually just made it back up to 2 inches.
Woohoo!
I think the last time I was on here, I was at like an inch and something. And my ears just stretch super fast.
What are those?
I do have the tissue memory. These are black onyx from Safe Products.
Billy's.
Billy.
Nice.
Yeah.
Super cool. Those are beautiful. And Samira Scarlett. Hey guys, I was curious. Could one turn an Ashley into a vertical labret?
No.
No. Completely different angles.
So the Ashley piercing is right dead center of the bottom lip.
The color of the lip. Ashley is in through the color.
Yeah, through the colored area of the lip, right in the center, and then the vertical labret is from the bottom of the lip where the color meets, like your lip, what is this area? Like your chin area almost.
Yeah.
Where the color of your lip meets the not colored part of your lip.
The normal skin tone.
The normal skin tone.
There we go.
Your face. And then it comes out to the top of the colored part of the lip, right above where an Ashley piercing would come out.
I used to pierce in this shop in Blaine, Minnesota, and up the road was another shop who always Minnesota. And she used to call these chin piercings all day long. I've seen it. Other people label them chin piercings, but a chin piercing is a full-on chin. That's what a chin piercing is.
I've done a
This is a
couple
labret or a lip piercing. So, yep, I've done a couple back in the day. All right, and
Hassan Shamil, hello from Maldives. Maldives?
Where's Maldives?
Where is Maldives?
Well, welcome in, though. We're still happy you're here. Where's Maldives? And Will Jones.
Even if I have to take out my piercings at some point, I will definitely stay here because I love it here. Awesome.
I'm looking up Maldives right now.
Maldives.
Oh, you can't read the next question. I'm sorry. You scroll down. There we go.
Scott. Keep up. Coal Mine Girl 21. Have you ever actually been in a coal mine? That's really cool. Hi guys, I've wanted dimple piercings for a while, but afraid of complications. Is there really a lot of risks? Yes and no. If you're going to someone who knows what they're doing as far as cheek piercings go, there are things that you need to avoid piercing through or near just to like avoid complications. Just basically through the area where you don't really have much muscle, and then like the, I think I explained last time the whole saliva glands that are like kind of back here. Mm-hmm. You'll know when you touch them when like you roll your finger across it and you start to salivate. So you want to avoid that, and you want to avoid the muscle that's right here. Dahlia piercings are pierced through muscle, so like you can pierce near the muscle and through the muscle, and it will eventually heal. It's just like high movement area. But yeah, I mean, cheeks, you just have to keep them clean, leave them alone. Make sure that you're just taking really good care of them, downsizing the jewelry when you need to. It's really not super complicated. So
I look
Maldives, Scott.
I wish I was there. I had no idea how beautiful this is. Is this Maldives where you're from?
Shop trip.
Shop trip.
Shop trip.
That is beautiful.
We're going to come visit you.
Wow.
That is awesome.
Oh, my earplug came up. And where are we at here?
Alice Dorrell. My double helix is 14 gauge hoops.
I really want to change one of them to a Doth heart, but all the ones I've seen are 16 gauge, and I don't want to downsize. Are there 14 gauge out there?
There are such thing as the 14 gauge Doth hearts. The only thing is so with a Doth piercing,
is that Leroy
jewelry?
I think they have them.
Leroy probably has them, but I mean, you could probably get them really anywhere. The Doth itself, it sits, straight up and down like this. So the heart, you're going to be able to see it in the ear just like this. So if you're putting that heart on a helix, it's going to sit like this in the ear. So you'll just look like you kind of have like this weird shaped piece of jewelry in your ear as opposed to like a heart shape. I don't really know how to explain it.
Yeah, you can see how it's forward facing. You can see most of the ring, but when it's in a helix, look at the one.
That helix piercing, the top middle, the black and white.
This one here?
Yeah. So the angle in which that is pierced, you can tell that it's a heart, right? But if it was pierced straight through the helix.
Look at the rook next to it.
Yeah.
Kind of the same thing. You lose the shape of the heart and it looks just kind of an odd shaped
piece of jewelry in the ear, yeah.
So it depends on the angle and how far up it actually is on your ear.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, it could work.
But it's pretty jewelry. It really is.
Yeah.
Cool.
Super cute.
Ooh, lost a spot. Good thing we highlight stuff.
All right, Will Jones. If in a few years you guys don't have apprentices, I'm going to come get Pierce and possibly pitch an idea.
Love it.
Awesome.
Love it for sure. All right, and
Kevin Orlivares, have you ever done a Ragnar piercing? Any advice if so? We were just talking about the Ragnar piercing.
I haven't.
We were just talking about it last week. The Ragnar.
I'm looking it up here for you so we can show it off. It's kind of a thick cartilage piercing here. Mm-hmm. So here we go. Looking at the Ragnar, you can kind of see how it goes the long way through the snug and the helix. It's rough. You can't, like, if you look at where the arrow's pointing here, if you have a deep crevice in here separating your anti-helix to your helix, it's probably not going to work out and it's going to reject.
One, the bottom right on the page, that is intense.
This?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's still technically a Ragnar way up top. That's
crazy.
Unless that's a faux one where it's like that's just like a hidden one and then they have a high conch.
Yeah.
But Ragnars are these ones here where it goes side to side through the ear like that.
I could not imagine getting that pierced.
This is a snug. That's not a Ragnar. Mm-hmm. This is why we love the internet. There's so much good information on it nowadays. Mm-hmm. Yep, but they're gnarly.
Except for the whole orbital thing.
Yeah.
And people want an orbital, which is just a conch piercing with a ring in it. An orbital is actually 2 piercings in a conch. It's like an upper and a lower, and then you wear a ring in it.
Yep.
That's an orbital.
So, but that's kind of, I haven't done one. Any advice on getting one? Expect a long, long healing process.
Yeah.
Hopefully you have the
On
right
the side
anatomy
you
so
don't
it can
sleep
heal.
on.
Yeah, yep. It's going to take a long time to heal. Expect a minimum of a year. All right. I wonder why we have all these retracted messages all of a sudden. Oh. Alice Durrell, just saying, I wish more doctors had tattoos and piercings. I love them. You know what? They do. They're just all hidden under their clothes because they want to keep their job. Mm-hmm. A lot of people still look at stuff like that as like, oh, you're not professional if you have it. And it's like, I trust my doctor more if they have those things. You know, I really do. You know, if you went to a doctor, they had a bunch of piercings and tattoos and everything was infected and crooked and looked bad, I'd definitely find out another doctor. It's kind of like,
Right.
Yeah. So I do too, though. Finding a piercing-friendly doctor, that's something we used to talk about all the time back in the day, because there's a lot of old school doctors who just hate piercings in general. And they're like, it's infected, take it out. Well, did they do a culture test? Did they, do you just not like it, so you're telling people to take it out? I hate it when doctors push their opinions and not actual facts. So that's what we mean by a piercing-friendly doctor. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I pierce doctors all the time. I really do. At first, it used to scare the crap out of me. It's like, I'm a doctor. I want to get this pierced. I'm like, oh my God, they're going to see. I hope I do extra sterile. Don't, and it's just like, you know what? No, we're doing everything right. So there's nothing to worry about. And I love piercing doctors because if I have questions, I'll ask them.
We actually, Scott just pierced our
health inspector.
Our health inspector the other day. That was awesome.
Yeah. I was like, you were just here. What are you? She's like, no, I'm bringing my sister actually to get pierced. This is the only shop I'd trust her to get pierced at. I'm like, that's really cool. Quite the honor.
It was very
So yeah, the health inspector's in there watching me do all my work. And I'm just like, oh God, this is worse than a surgeon or a doctor right now. She's gathering evidence for the future. But again, she's awesome. And Ursula's Odds and Sods. Could you do a video on how to use insertion tapers to change your jewelry in hard to reach places? 100%. You know what? I was looking for a video to record today, and actually that's what I'm going to do. So I'll teach you guys how to use pin tapers and how to use tapers properly as a tool, not as jewelry. It's probably one of my bigger pet peeves in this industry is people who wear tapers as jewelry. They got the big plugs or the big taper sticking out of their ear, and it's like wearing a hammer.
Me in middle school.
As a decoration. Like put all the screwdrivers on my side. It's like, it's the look, It's a tool, people. It's a tool. Will Jones, a few months back, my piercer pierced his own bridge. Needless to say, it wasn't straight. Yeah, I bet not. And then he
got hit and rejected that.
Oh, yeah. Bridge piercings are probably one of the slower piercings I do on purpose because they're not very painful and the slightest little bit is going to make it look crooked. It has to be so precise for that one to look correct. So, yeah. And doing it yourself and everything's in the mirror, your hands are covering your eyes.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Does your piercer play the lottery every day, too? I mean, it's good. Odds are probably better at winning the lottery than getting a straight bridge piercing by doing it yourself. And I'm saying if you do your own home piercings, which we don't ever condone, and it gets straight, I'm not saying to go play the lottery. All right, Sarah Wardle, what is the worst jewelry you have taken out of someone, worst angle, worst unclean piercing you have ever seen, ever dealt with?
That's a good question.
I can tell you right now, it was back in '97 at a shop called Captive Elements.
Back in my day.
Kid came in who had made his own jewelry from a bicycle spoke. He clipped the wire because it's about the same gauge and tried wrapping it and put some weird bead. There's no polish and his ear was so infected and I was just like appalled. I don't even know what to say other than let's get some real jewelry in you. Like, that was the worst I've ever seen.
So worst I've actually ever seen was on myself. I decided to stretch my ears with a nail and I had to go to the hospital because I got really sick and I almost had to get a blood transfusion because I had rust poisoning in my body. So I had a really bad infection in my blood. So yeah, be cautious of metals and everything, materials that you're putting in your body because it can really mess you up. And it got to a point where, like, I had such bad infections that it was like I said, it was like in my bloodstream. It was like starting to affect like how I was thinking even. It was pretty wild. So, but yeah, the school called my mom and they were like, she needs to go to the hospital. Something's wrong. And then they were just like, wow, your ears are so infected. Like, it was terrible.
Gnarly.
Super gnarly.
Story time.
Yeah.
So when I got hired on at St. Sabrina's back in '96, I was setting my room up. And the receptionist comes up and says, hey, Scott, can you take a phone call? Someone says they have a piercing emergency. And I had not even started piercing there yet. And this is kind of, it was just unbelievable. So this guy's on the phone is like, yeah, I just got my ears pierced and they won't stop bleeding. What do I need to do? And I was like, well, what did you do? He's like, well, I took a hole punch and I punched holes in my ears because I wanted plugs. And then I put a 16 penny nail or something like that inside. The same concept. He's like, what do I need to do? They won't stop bleeding. I'm like, you need to go to the hospital. And he goes, do I have to?
I mean,
yes, you have to go to the hospital. It is not going to end up good if you don't. Yeah. Hole punch. Those things are not sharp. How did he get? So he gets one done and then goes to the next year?
Oh, no.
That's a whole nother level of crazy and dumb. I'll say it.
I couldn't imagine.
So, yeah, little story there for you.
Sevda, rad suggestion. Both of you reacting to piercing videos together. That'd be fun.
I have a bunch more we got to
those.
do. Yeah. You know what? We'll give that a shot for sure. That'd be fun. Dave Weston. Hey guys, how are you both?
Fantastic. Today's a really good day.
I'm doing really good. You know what? I've been kind of fighting a sneeze on and off for like the last hour. I'm not sure what's going on in my nose. There's got to be a booger or something. Too much information, probably.
Like
but other than that, I'm doing good.
It might fly out.
Documented forever.
Beata.
All you.
Hold on, let's see. Pronunciation. Beata Matehikova?
That was really good, Kelsey. Good
Hello,
job.
guys. How are you doing? I was wondering, I really want to get my snake bites and a vertical labret pierced. Is it okay if I get all of them done in one sitting, or is it too much? Thank you. So it's definitely not going to be too much.
It's a lot of swelling, though.
It's going to be a lot of swelling on your one lip, though. So be prepared for a lot of swelling. Make sure after your piercing you stay hydrated, drink ibuprofen, eat some ibuprofen. Yeah, it's just going to be a lot to heal at once.
You should be fine, though.
You'll be okay. They're all in the same area, so like they'll all pretty much heal like pretty well at the same time. Keep them clean, leave them alone. Proper length jewelry, because you are getting multiples in one area. You might need a little bit of extra length than average just to allow for the swelling, but yeah.
And don't freak out the following day, because they will look crooked. Everything's going to swell at a different angle. So if you wake up and you look in the mirror, you're going to want to start crying because everything's not right. It'll go back. As long as it looks good the day of, if you swell, it swells back to that original position. I just like to let everyone know, because I've had a lot of panicked phone calls. My piercing is so crooked. How old is it? 2 days? I'm like, yeah, you're in the middle of swelling. Give it 2 more days and give me a call. And we never hear back. You're back.
Yeah.
The Minnesotan came, you're back.
You're back. Go to the car. That's more Wisconsin. Minnesota? Mikos Juarez. I wanted to start stretching my Medusa. Any specific advice for stretching lips? So lips are more of a soft tissue. They're pretty easy to stretch. Just go by size like you would do like your earlobes. I mean, your lips have more of like the muscle lining. Like this whole area right here is all just like muscle and soft tissue. So
I've had my
I feel
lips.
like you should be fine stretching that. I actually, mine's at a 12 right now. I was pierced at a 14.
The stretch is pretty easy for you?
Yeah, it was pretty easy.
I stretch my lower lips, my snake bites, up to like a 6 gauge or maybe even a 4 gauge. My labret, I think I had up to a 10 or an 8. And I never had any problems with those. But when I had my Medusa pierced, it was very sensitive. So I can't imagine stretching it. But that doesn't mean it's not going to be, it's not going to be painful. But it's,
really not too bad. As long as you're going by size, which is like just points of a millimeter going up each time, it's really not bad.
Yep. So totally worth it. And they look super cool. Alice Durrell. Okay, cool. Thanks. So I'm going to be getting pierced from her birthday, either rook to conch, doth, or my third lobes.
Sweet.
Either rook to conch.
Where would be
That's
a good
awesome.
place to send them to show it off to you guys?
PiercingWithScott@gmail.com. Probably going to be the best way. I need to get through those emails and start pulling up some of those pictures again. All right.
Coal
And
Mine Girl 21, Cassandra A. I am 16 years old and really interested in apprenticeship for piercing. What is the minimum age to work in a piercing place? Typically, it's going to be 18.
I've never heard of it younger than that because you're dealing with people with genital piercings and nipple piercings, and they need to be a
Right.
certain age to do that.
Yeah. 18
Yeah,
and
I
older.
don't know. Yeah, you might be able to start an apprenticeship earlier, but you wouldn't be able to sit in on nipple or genital piercings for those. I don't really know for sure. I'm going to say 18 is probably pretty standard, though. And Kevin,
Oliveras, thanks for answering. Do all bridges
Very well.
reject? I really want one, but I'm scared of it being temporary. You've had yours done multiple times, right? So not all bridges are prone to like migration or rejection. It really just depends on the anatomy. The bridge is one of those like anatomy-based piercings. So like mine is, I really don't have much tissue here to pinch onto, but like Scott's, I can literally like even where he is pierced already, I can still pinch right behind that.
it's a lot there.
A lot of tissue. So, and like that, he doesn't really have much of that bridge bone that's stopping him from wearing a comfortable piece of jewelry. So,
Where's that dry erase board? Is that right around here? Is it over there? Do you see one? I had it here earlier. I was going to show you how that works. I don't see it.
is it in the closet? Is there a dry erase board?
Awesome. Awesome. Cool.
Lots of numbers on it, though. Do you want me to erase that, or?
Yeah, go ahead and erase that real quick. We're not going to be able to see through all those numbers. All right. So the reason bridge piercings reject is because people don't get them deep enough. And it's not because of necessarily the piercer piercing it deep enough, but it's a very anatomy dependent thing. Now, if you have a bridge, so you can, I feel like there's just a bunch of reflection. Hold the wrong way. Okay, so this one here, if your bridge sticks out, I'm trying to draw on this backwards. Oh, that's hurt my brain so much. Thank you.
If your bridge sticks out like this?
Yeah, if your bridge sticks out, you can go across, draw a line across through the middle, and you're going perpendicular to the tissue. Now, if you're trying to do a bridge on the other one and you draw a straight line, you can see how it's going through at an angle, and there's much higher chance of rejection because there's not enough tissue to actually grab hold of.
Squiggly barbell.
Squiggly barbell. Yeah. So, but that's kind of the difference. Like I said, you have to have the tissue if you're.
And then mine is like this. So trying to pierce through that is, that's a big
Correct.
no.
It depends on where the bone is, not just the skin. Because I mean, looking at your bridge, I would say you're a good candidate for it. But if you press down and you just
yeah,
instantly,
if you push down, maybe.
I think you're okay.
What?
Oh, you might be piercing Kelsey's bridge.
No, not a chance.
Why are you scared?
No, I don't think it would look
You're
good on
chicken.
me. You know what though? Is out of all the piercings that I've ever had on my face, that is the one that my mom would always tell me like that would look so cute on you, like 2 little tiny beads, and I'm like, you're freaking crazy. Everything else she had an issue with.
Uh-oh. Okay.
Alice Dorrell. Oh, that's amazing. And then we have Flo, me again. Can I get a tragus and a doth in the same ear in one sitting? Absolutely.
It's just kind of order of operations. It kind of depends on the piercer, which one needs to go first, so you're not leaning on the other piercing. But yeah, doth and a tragus should be totally fine for you. Bill Jones.
I love to see when Kelsey is talking and Scott is leaning back like the overseer. He just sits back and judges everything that I say.
Judge.
This new school piercer over here doesn't know what she's talking about.
I should get another bridge. James, I've had double bridge piercing before, and I liked it. I'm not opposed to it.
That'd be cool.
Do another one maybe
Yeah.
up top.
Yeah.
I got the room for it.
So much room. He could probably get barbells all the way up to like his forehead right here.
I accept the challenge.
Challenge accepted. New project.
All right.
We're doing that.
Yeah.
Cool.
How many bridges can we get in, Scott?
Oh, dude, so many. I could go all the way up to here.
All right, and Stephen Roberts, squiggly barbell. Yeah. You know, I had someone come in just the other day. They had a ring in their ear, and back in the day, they used to take like these 2 or 3 rings, and they would twist it, and then they turn it into a captive bead ring. And I've never understood how people can wear that jewelry. You know, like the braided style, twisty jewelry. Yeah, it just doesn't seem comfortable. But I imagine once you're healed up, it should work.
Be fine.
Yeah.
Hogwarts dropout. Anything I need to know before an upper helix piercing? Choose an ear that you don't sleep on.
Yeah.
You know, I'm super big into not sleeping on your piercings. Yeah, it makes a huge difference. So anything.
I was gonna try to find a twist captive bead ring. I can't find one though. So.
There's one right there, all the way to the left.
No, this is called an Impala ring.
Oh, Impala.
Yeah, that's what we used to
That'd
call
be cool
these
in a
back
conch.
then. Here, we'll show you what we're talking about. So this is the ring I was just talking about. This is not the twist. This is called an Impala, where it's like a circular barbell that overlaps. This jewelry is actually really cool looking.
That'd be cute in a
With
conch.
a captive bead in there like that. Yeah, that's really, really cool. I don't know why all the bike parts came up, but I typed in twist CBR. So, but anyways, yeah. All right, and Alex Chronister. Thank you guys for videos inspiring me to reclaim myself. Oklahoma. Sweet. Yeah, piercings build confidence. They make you feel better about yourself. I don't know. It's almost like a layer of clothing at times. I mean, like, I could be completely naked and feel weird, but if I didn't have my jewelry, I'd feel weirder. Even with clothes on. Yeah, weirder. I'd feel weirder than I already am.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Panda. I sadly had to take my tragus out. How long roughly would I need to wait before piercing it again?
I generally tell people a minimum of a month.
And also, like, another good question would be, how long did you have it before you took it out? Because you could probably just taper it back open and put jewelry back in. So.
Sometimes. And, you know, and if it did close up and you have a lot of scarring, if you pierce over that scar tissue, that discolored tissue in that scar will still remain there. So get your tissue to look as normal as possible before you re-pierce it, or just go to a piercer and see if it can be saved. Yep. And Will Jones says, I'm 5 months into healing a triple helix.
Nowhere near heal. And the struggle is so much not to put rings in it. The struggle is real.
It's
when
real.
It comes to wanting to just have hoops in. But I promise it's so worth it to just wait it out.
Mm-hmm.
Let them heal.
Will knows. Will's very wise.
Will is a wise man.
Christine, not a piercing question, but what is your guys' height difference? I'm 4'9", and the piercing in our shop is 6'2".
6'2".
Yeah, I'm
5'7".
I'm 6'2", so not that big of a difference.
Yeah.
The funniest video, I still crack up about this. I had a piercer, his name is Travis, and he was about 2 years ago, or maybe 3 years ago when the pandemic hit, we did a video on masks. Okay, and there's in the beginning of it. So if you look it up on my channel, you're gonna laugh. The first couple seconds, I come walking out, and he comes in, and all the comments are like, "Oh my God, how big are you, Scott?" Because he's like 5'2", and I'm 6'3". He's like 130. I'm like 270. I was ginormous. So yeah, I'll see if I can pull that picture up here.
You can look like a Bajoran.
I don't know what a Bajoran is.
Me neither.
Oh, I should probably look that up.
We're gonna look it up. Mary Sandy, what do I need to know about tongue piercing care?
Alcohol's a bad thing during the healing process.
Is bad.
Including drinking and in the mouthwash.
Is not going to be very comfortable. If you get that in the piercing, it's really it's very spicy.
Generally, the following day is the most as far as swelling goes. So go to sleep with a cup of ice water next to your bed. So if you wake up with a really sore tongue, you can stick it in there and it'll make it feel better a lot faster.
I say by day 3 or 4 is when like the swelling is at its peak, like at its most swollen.
Really?
And also most painful. Yeah. By day 4. So I've had my tongue pierced like 5 times. Even after having it split, I've had one on each side, and like day 4 was the day that I always would dread.
Muscular piercings are different.
Sorry.
Yeah, you're backing up again. Muscular piercings are more intense than an actual tongue piercing because you're going through the connective tissue.
They swell up really bad.
Yeah. So like venom piercings is what we're talking about. And Sveta. Yay, another Trekkie.
Oh, okay. So it's a
Trekkie thing.
Yeah.
Okay, I gotta look up Bajoran now. Now I'm really curious. I'll let you.
And then Hogwarts Dropout. How's the aftermath of play piercings on the body? So play piercings, as we know, are temporary piercings. They're done for like photo shoots, shows, just for fun, you know, if you want to do something crazy. Bajoran. I'm not seeing it.
This is.
Okay. I see.
Here, we'll go to this now. So this is a Bajoran. I guess they kind of have some scarring and some stuff going on their face. Some of these other ones, I'm not sure, though, because they're showing all these other people as Bajorans and it doesn't look like it. I'm not much of a Trekkie. I'm a Stargate SG-1 fan. Huge Stargate SG-1 fan. For those of you who know, like, I even have the first prime of Apophis tattooed on the side of my neck.
Super nerd.
So... Again, I'm pointing to my neck. Here's where the first prime. I had the other screen up the whole time. I'm so bad at screen switching. All right.
So aftermath of play piercings on the body. So after the play piercings are done, and you take them out, you just like might bleed a tiny bit, but realistically, the aftermath of them, it's not bad at all. You might have a little bit of soreness, tiny bit of swelling, but they heal up just like any, you know, like poke, scratch, or cut would. So just keep them clean, leave them alone.
Yep.
Don't go rubbing dirt in them or anything.
I've had a lot of play piercings and I've never really scarred much, but I don't scar much in general. If you're really prone to scarring, I would start small and not do a huge project right away, because you never know. And James the Piercer, I didn't know either. Bajoran. Am I even saying that right? Probably not. I mispronounce everything. And Alice Terrell. So, yeah, another Trekkie here. So cool. I love sci-fi, no matter what kind of sci-fi it is. Right now, I'm in the Star Wars kick, watching Ahsoka. So good.
Is it?
So good.
Yeah, I gotta get into it.
Yeah.
Chris Gallegos, what are your guys' favorite piercing trends and least favorite piercing trends?
My least favorite one was the horizontal lip piercing that Cardi B did. That really, really upset me.
I just got a horizontal lip piercing call yesterday.
Like, some guy did this piercing on her. She took a picture, and I think 2 days later she took it out. Mm-hmm. But the picture's still over the internet, and everyone still wants it. I'm like, she even knew back then. Like, your lips move and fluctuate. How are you putting a bar in there and not having it reject
out? It's just like
the
snake eye piercing. Like, you're stopping your body from being able to do, like, its natural ability.
Yeah.
So, like... I don't know.
And
just talking in general, like realizing how much like your bottom lip puckers when you're like saying stuff. I just feel like that jewelry pushing in and out and the crusties pushing in and out would like not be comfortable.
Yeah. And if it rejected, can you imagine having a big horizontal scar across the bottom of your lip? Yeah. That'd be tough to cover.
Yeah.
It'd look terrible. So not a fan.
Horizontal, the anti-eyebrow with the curved barbell instead of a surface bar, they reject every time. Every time. Don't do it. That was super trendy. It's still pretty trendy. The snake eye piercing is super trendy. Like all these things, just like any sort of horizontal or surface piercing with a curved barbell just needs to die off.
I used to work with this tattoo artist, Ashley. I miss her so much. She was so fun to work with. And she had curved barbell, anti-eyebrow healed piercings that were like 10 plus years old. And I hated it. Because, you know, it's like, oh, it'll never heal.
First of all,
but what about hers? What about hers? What about hers? And like, she doesn't count. Yeah.
It's
like one of a million.
My friend Mauricio, he had the snake eye piercing for like, I think like 12 years before he took it out to have his tongue split. And he healed his really well and never had issues with it. But he was also one of the only people I had ever met that had it, and I didn't hear the jewelry clicking on his teeth every time he talked. Like, that is the one thing that drives me nuts about those piercings, is I just, like, hear teeth clicking and clattering, like, against the jewelry, and it just sounds so bad. You can't have a serious conversation.
No.
Like, that's all you hear.
All right. So we got about 8 more minutes left before we're going to finish this off. So we should be able to get through most of these questions. So if you need a question answered, get it in quick, because we're going to cut it off real soon. And if you haven't, you know, hit the like and subscribe. I've said it more this episode than any other one. I'm getting good at this. Mm-hmm. After 3 years, I mean, I should figure some of this stuff out. Christine, is this where we're at?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
I have 30 plus ear piercings, stretch lobes, 4 nostril piercings, and a stretch septum with stacked clickers in it. My floating navel will be my first body piercing, not in my face.
That's impressive. How have
Hell
you
yeah.
not gone beyond your face? But I'm excited for you. Navel piercing's great. Just make sure your pants aren't rubbing up against
Yeah,
it.
no
That's-
high-waisted stuff. Keep
Yep.
it clean, leave it alone. Oh yeah, and they're asking any tips for navels. Generally pretty easy to heal. They're pretty easy. They go through a phase of like looking good and then being really ugly looking. So just like ride out the healing process. You know.
And, because I'm old, back in the day, low-rise pants were
Back in my
super,
day.
super back in the day.
Back in my day.
When we had to walk to school uphill both ways and just, anyways, low-rise pants came in style there. They're really low, and everyone healed their navels up in 3 or 4 months. It was like no one had problems.
Yeah,
and
but
as
now
soon as the high-rise
high-waisted is
pants,
back.
instant year-long healing process. So
Yeah.
it makes a difference. Yep.
Will Jones, the life and piercing battle is always running in my mind, especially when I'm doing manual work outside and just sit there and think, well, I guess I'm hitting this today. No.
Manda Panda. Oh, we might have just became best friends. I love Stargate so much.
Oh boy.
Woo!
Sebda, oh my god, dude, Stargate, hell yes. Another
More
fan.
friends.
More
See?
friends.
Great minds think alike.
And then Will Jones, Scott, don't spoil Ashoka for
Ahsoka.
me. Ahsoka. I'm still trying to finish Obi-Wan.
Oh my God, and Obi-Wan was so good too.
Yeah.
I love that one. I can't wait to get more in there. I won't spoil it for you, but it's totally worth checking out, dude. Totally worth checking out.
SH, I've had a split lip before. Every time it started to heal, it would split again. I can't even imagine what a piece of jewelry in a moving part of my lip would feel like. Ouch. Yeah, exactly.
I think it's different because the split, it's so easy to kind of reopen things back up, and that really, really sucks. Kind of brings me back to when I had my eyes, underneath my eyes branded. I had like 6 dots burned in there, and every time I yawned, I'd feel all those things crack. The cracking was worse than the branding, and no one ever believes it, but it's kind of the same thing. A lip piercing really isn't that bad unless it was full-on splitting. Ouch.
And then Dark.
Thank you for saying it right.
Retainer recommendations for healed lip piercings during surgery for a day or so's wear. I've heard glass ones are good, but I feel like I'd totally break them while high on anesthesia. It's like flashy or
Are
something.
you a wild sleeper or waking up like, oh?
Yeah, the Bioflex ones are good. You know, like it's almost like a soft plastic.
I'll show you. It kind of has more of an attached top.
Yeah.
I have never seen a glass retainer break inside someone. I've only seen them drop it high up and hit concrete, and then it might break in half. But I've never seen one break inside someone.
I've broken a glass receiving tube in someone's navel before. I was pushing really hard, and it just like shattered. Glass all
You're
over my
not
belly
selling
button.
your piercing skills right now.
That was during my apprenticeship.
Okay.
I learned my lesson. No glass receiving tubes and something you have to apply a lot of pressure to. It was my first manful. But I nailed it.
Here we
Will
go.
is asking, when Kelsey said the anti-eyebrows with curved barbells, it reminded me before I saw someone online who was a magic healer who healed an anti-eyebrow with a thick, straight barbell in it, like a 10 gauge. Oh, no.
Yeah, it's possible. It's really unlikely that someone can do it, but we don't like those people that heal these things up and give us all other really bad ideas.
Yeah.
But impressive to them for being able to heal.
Yeah, good
Some
job.
people can
You
just
have
heal
magic
anything.
tissue.
You can probably stick a toothpick in their arm and some people just heal it up. Most of us are going to have problems.
Yeah.
So let's go up to this picture. I'll show you what the Bioflex is. Like you can see right, wrong mouse. Mice all over the place. This is Bioflex right here, where it has like a disc on the inside and then the gem or ball pushes in. This is kind of a fancier top. Normally you get these
Like a little rubber top or
like
a clear
this,
top. Yeah.
where it's all acrylic. That one actually is just a straight up screw barbell, I think. Mm-hmm. You got retainers like
so
this.
the Bioflex is really cool too because a lot of times you can actually buy like a little, not like a spool of it, but like a pretty good amount of it, and you can cut it to the length that you need, and then using the externally threaded beads,
It taps itself because it's soft
yeah,
enough.
you can actually screw it on. It's soft enough to really taper onto the threading itself.
Yeah. But that's BioFlex. Those work really well. Glass ones are going to work really well. Acrylic ones will work. Everything's a temporary fix. Retainers are not meant to be worn on a daily basis. If you do need one on a daily basis, you need to find some sort of a metal top, like the neo metal ones that kind of have the color where it's skin toned. But in general, you're not supposed to have metal in those surgeries, so that's kind of the deal.
And then we have Sarah Wardle. You are both such lovely people and always make me laugh on your lives.
We have so much fun doing this, and it's also fun because we have awesome people like you here. So thank you.
Yeah.
SH. I remember seeing a girl who cut holes in her bodysuits for her navel piercings.
Nice. Smart.
Back in the day, this was so awesome. One of my favorite things about tattoo conventions is the ridiculous clothing things people would do to show off their tattoos. Like if you had a thigh tattoo and it's the middle of winter, people would cut a hole where their tattoo is, maybe put saran wrap or something inside there to kind of to keep it from, because I'm from Minnesota where it gets really cold. Or you'll have like a tattoo, like there'll be a hole in my shirt right here just to show off a bumblebee or whatever tattoo there, or in the back. It's ridiculous.
Cute.
I don't know if they still do that or not.
Maybe.
Manda Panda. Can you do a video physically showing us how to clean different piercings? I find without a visual it's hard to understand. I would find it super helpful. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Sure. I'm looking for more ideas right now for video. So yeah, I'll totally do one of those for you. That's a great idea. And Coal Miner 21, Cassandra A. I got a Jestrum piercing 6 days ago and there's a bad bruise still there. Is that normal? Yeah, it happens.
It's normal. You know, if you bruise bad enough, it'll take a couple days to kind of go down. So.
But when you put a needle in someone's lip, I mean, you can get some bruising.
Yes.
Yes, you can.
I have bruising on mine right
Yep, that's the same concept. That was my point. And all right, so I think this is about where we're going to wind this up. We got the last comment here by Will Jones. What a great way to end this up. It says, have a great day, guys. It's 9 p.m. here. Over here, it's 1:06. So, yeah, big difference between Las Vegas and Ireland. So that's where we're winding this up. If you haven't already, hit the like, hit the subscribe, and of course, keep putting holes in your body. We'll see you all in the next video.
Bye, guys.